All right, y'all, we're going to kick off this holiday live stream. If anyone hops in, post up a comment. Let me know the levels are good. You can hear me all right. Tell you what, guys, something you don't know, the first few minutes of a live stream for a small channel, absolutely nerve-wracking. Always worried no one's going to jump in. I see someone jumped in. All right, give me a second. Let me hop over to the stream comments. It's weird. It takes a second to load on my end. All right, there we go. I can see myself. Oh, I got to bring down my own volume. Hold up. Oh, can't have that double talk feedback happen. Oh, 11 people in already? Let's go. Jeez, that was quick. Let me pop this chat out so I could, keep track of all the questions and make sure to address all of them. Pop chat. Let's get this out of my face. Oh, no, I needed that. Hold up. Sorry, guys, this is amateur hour. I already made a mistake. I popped out the chat and then I closed the window. Like, I didn't need it, but you need the video playing to have the chat popped out, right? So, all right, let's get back to it. Mute the video, pop out the chat. Boom, here we go. All right, Dylan Lewis says, Nemo, what's up, Dylan? Good to see you. He's saying that everything sounds good. Okay, cool, good. Who cares says, we get it. I appreciate that. Probably referring to me saying the first few minutes of a live are stressful for a small content creator. Static Age says, hi there. What's up, Static Age? Who cares? See that. Swiper, hello. Static Age says, loved your Galleon amp review. Yeah, man, the only thing that bums me out about that review is not that many people watched it. I'm not sure, for one reason or another, it seems like the bulk of my audience is not super interested in tube amps. And what's unfortunate about that is when I get into something, I try to review a few things in that category. Like I reviewed we did the Prima Luna. We did the Pathos Classic 1 Mark III. We did the Wilsonton, then the Galleon TS34. Upcoming, we have the Brunoko Terra, which is a South Korean tube amp, which is a absolute performer. So I get bummed when people don't get a good reaction to the content because I know there's more of it coming. I try not to just review like one of a category because I feel like I need the data points to really talk about it. But yeah, that Galleon TS34, absolute high current powerhouse. If you guys have any questions about it, would love to chat about it. What else we have here? Dylan says 11 people hype. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I would do this stream with even 5 people in it, honestly. As long as questions come in and there's engagement, I will do the stream, guys. Look, I'm like any other man. I got an ego about me. We all do, but I don't need a lot of people to have a good conversation. As long as the questions are popping and we're engaging, I'm always happy to do these. What I have noticed, though, around like 30, 40 people gets a good steady flow. I feel like when it's a small group of people, you might feel like there's a lot of pressure on y'all to ask a lot of questions. And I appreciate those of you that do. I noticed some of you guys keep the streams cranking when there's not a lot of people in there by asking extra questions. And I know that effort you're putting. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Ray Balderas asks, how do you get started on your first tube amp? I mean, first step is just you buy one of them, you know what I mean? So with tube amps, one of the most important things is you want to make sure that the wattage is sufficient for what you're planning on pairing them with, right? Because a lot of these excuse me, some of these tube amps are really low power. There's some that are just 2, 3, or 4 watts. But then some are high power, right? Like the Pathos stuff, the Galleon stuff, the Brunoko's Terra 6LP, I think is the one I have, is very powerful. But there's a Brunoko Terra 300B that is way less powerful. So You want to just make sure you're getting one that has enough wattage for what you're trying to do. You want to make sure the speakers you have planned to use are, I'd say at least, 88, 89 dB or more sensitive. And you want to make sure you're not trying to fill a massive room. And if you are, you could still use a tube amp. You're just going to want to use one of the more powerful ones like a Galleon or a Pathos or one of the Brunocos that have like 20 watts or more. But it's not too difficult. It's like any other amp. Don't let the bias scare you. Biasing a tube amp is so easy. A lot of them have auto bias. You could just do it from the remote control. And for the ones that don't, like the Wilson Tin R300, it is so easy. Just a little flathead screwdriver. There's nubs on top of the amp. You don't need to open it up to do this. It's so easy. You just push this switch forward. It tells you where the tube is on that front meter, and you just turn that bias screw to get that needle in the middle. It's so easy. So it's really easy to get started on a tube amp, I'd say. Louis Sipe says, didn't know you did live streams. Yes, sir. Yeah, not a lot, but I do them. If you go to my YouTube page, right? Some of you guys don't know every content creator has their own YouTube page. Here, let me bring up another window. I'll tell you how to get there because I've learned this, that not everyone knows or is aware of like all the features of YouTube, but like we all have our own pages. So like, let me go to YouTube and I'm going to go to like Andrew Robinson's page, for example. Sorry, you can't see this on my screen. So you're just going to have to like hear what I'm saying. So I go to Andrew Robinson's page. I just search for him. And then it shows me all his videos, but it also shows me his profile at the top. I click on that profile, and this is Andrew Robinson's page. Now I can see we can see there's tabs at the top. There's home, videos. I could see all his videos. I could organize them based on popularity or what's oldest or newest. I could check his shorts if he's done any shorts, and I could view his past live streams as well. It's the same with me, guys. You could check out my old live streams, even playlists, and then there's a community section where a lot of us content creators choose to interact with the audience. In my community section, for example, recently I've been posting a lot of deals and sales because it's holiday time and there's a lot of promotions popping up, and I'm letting you guys know about them. So it's definitely something you want to check out if you enjoy a content creator's work. Okay, what else we got here? Graham Heron says, so question, Rel 1510, so that's the Predator, or the SVS PB3000, movies only. I'm in the UK and I'm a subscriber. Graham, great question. So those are two really different subwoofers. We gotta realize that Predator 1510 is a sealed 15. That PB3000 is a vented 13-inch sub. Vented subs, generally speaking, all of the things being equal as much as possible, a vented sub will generally play twice as loud as its sealed counterpart. Think SVS PB1000 Pro versus a SB1000 Pro. You're going to need two SVS SB1000 Pros to equal a single PB1000 Pro. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, dude, if that's the case, why aren't we all buying vented subwoofers, man? That sounds like a freaking deal. Well, usually they cost a couple bucks more. They're larger. A lot of times they don't come in the nice high gloss finishes that the smaller subs do. And oftentimes vented subs are not going to have as quick a transients as their sealed counterpart, nor are they going to have as much clarity in the leading edges. The attack of a vented sub is oftentimes a little softened and has a little bit more rumble to it, where a sealed sub's attack generally has a strong leading edge to it, a little bit more clarity and fidelity in its leading edges and slightly better transients. So I did make a video, SVS versus Rel. That's what it's titled. I strongly suggest you check out that video because those are both going to be great subs in a theater environment. The Predator 1510 and the PB3000 can both rumble like hell. They both have their strengths. And it just depends what kind of customer you are, okay? The HT 1510 is going to be tighter. It's going to be tactile. It's going to be quicker. It's going to rumble strong. It's going to have great output, yes. The PB3000 is going to rumble a little bit harder. Its attack is going to be a little bit softer. And its transitions, right? its transient response is not going to be as defined as the sealed 1510. So they're both good. You got trade-offs. Watch my rel versus SVS video, and I think that will help you. Static Age, as a former review for bicycles, I know how much work goes into it, and it's much appreciated the time you spent on these reviews. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Me and my friends all got into e-bikes a couple years ago, and we would just whip through the neighborhood. It was so much fun because we all lived in the same community for about 2 years. It's not the case anymore, but there was about 25 of us. We all lived in the same community. It was like such an amazing 2 years in terms of just the stuff we got into. It was great. DeMorkin says, hello, what's up, man? Louis says, own a tube pre, but have been gun shy to buy a tube power amp. I don't have any experience with tube power amps, so I can't speak on the topic, but I'm sure there's a ton of options out there. You know, you could use that tube pre and pair it up with solid state power amps, of course, and try to get a little bit of the best of both worlds, or you can go all in on tube power amps. The reason I tend to stay away from tube power amps, guys, I'm not going to lie, most of them, if you want power, they're expensive, they're big, and they are heavy. And if you pay attention, most of my stuff isn't too big in terms of hi-fi. Like my Kinky Studio monoblocks, they're not tiny, but for monoblocks, they're not that big. What DAC do I use? I use the Aries 2 for a long time, small DAC. Now I use the Live Harmony, again, small DAC. What speakers do I use the most? Bucard S400 Mark II, not the biggest speakers, right? Same with my subwoofers. I don't use giant, massive subwoofers. I don't like owning really heavy gear. I don't know why. If there's a therapist in here, you know, feel free to chime in. Maybe there's some psychological reason to that. I'm not sure. Who Cares says, tubes are a niche, but a different sound, and I like them. Black Ice is another small tube company that assembles in America. Nice, that's good to know. I've seen their name be brought up in the last couple months a lot more often. Are they a newer company, or are they just rising in popularity? One moment, guys. Oh, geez, that hurts. Some of you guys might not know, I just had surgery like 8 or 9 days ago, so I'm still recovering from that. Coughing, sneezing, or blowing my nose are top tier painful items right now. So if I seem like a little bit hunched over or a little bit slower, it's just a little bit injured, but I got that injury fixed and I'm just in the recovery phase now. Hold on, I need my audiophile approved beverage. Those of you that were in the last stream, you already know. This is the one. This is the one. This is the best sparkling water there is. And if anyone knows anyone that works at this company, get me a sponsorship. I am for sale by a beverage company. I will not sell to I will not take money from a hi-fi company, but if a beverage company wants to pay Nemo propaganda for product placement, I'll have like 50 of these cans in the background of every video. I don't care. Refreshing. Look, I'm already marketing it. I'm already advertising the shit. Sean B says, my guess is Thomas products are heavily reviewed. No, they're not. The TS34 doesn't have any reviews. Thomas himself reviewed it, but that's the manufacturer. That's not really a review. That's more of an overview. The only two people that have reviewed it are Huff, just dropped his review last week, and then me this week. That's it. There are no TS34 reviews. So it's not getting good views, and I don't care so much about like views and analytics, but like when I review a product, part of me wants it to get a lot of views, so at least the manufacturer feels like sending me the sample was worth it. Oh, look at this. We got light shining down on me. Very angelic right now. I love the way light looks when you can kind of see it, like the beams. Super cool effect. Ray Balderas says so many choices. Yeah, there's a lot of choices these days, man. It's a good time to be an audiophile. We got choices at Every price point, every topology, every shape and size, every aesthetic, there is something out there for everyone. Ben, I think you meant to say 300B amp and good subs. I mean, any amp and good subs is going to be a good setup in my opinion. All right, that's people talking to each other. Yeah, see, look, here's an example. Middle Earth. He says his single-ended tube amps are if you're using a 2 or 3 watt, I would suggest like 95 dB or higher sensitivity. And if you got like 8 watts, again, maybe 89, 90 dB and up sensitivity, because you don't want the amp to be at its absolute limit. If a passage comes through with a lot of like bass dynamics to it, you don't want to run into distortion. It's not good for your speakers. They don't like that. Novalicious, my bro, sending you healing vibes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. JR says, how are you healing up? Surgery successful? Question mark. Yeah, man, surgery was a good success. It was a lower abdominal hernia, basically like the large intestine, if you will, just right above the jewels. You know what I'm saying? But definitely below the belt. Surgery was a big success. The first few days, terrible pain, like most surgeries. You know what I mean? That's pretty normal. But I've been home pretty much for a week. I haven't been going to work because of the region where it's in. You got to protect the incision because it's quite a big incision. It's about this big. If any of you guys are like into wounds, which I've learned some people are super into that. If you're in my Discord, I'll send you a picture. It's crazy. There's a ton of bruising and swelling, especially in the nuts and berries region, and that was a little bit scary and alarming at first. But they did warn me that that could happen, and the bulk of that swelling's gone down. Where I'd say about as far as like pain and discomfort, I'm like 85, 90% recovered. In terms of strength and physical prowess, maybe 20%, because you can't lift anything over 10 pounds for at least the first 30 days. Because you use your core anytime you do that kind of stuff. So I just got to be careful. All these videos you're seeing of heavy components come out like the 1528, the Galleon TS34. Next week is the Rhythmic F18. Those videos were all filmed before the surgery. Those products were packed and sent back before the surgery. Going forward, I'm mostly going to be reviewing lighter weight items. Like right now, I couldn't even rearrange my room if I wanted to, but I feel fine. So I'm happy. I'm happy to be in the solution, getting it fixed. Ham says gonna get the new Choco, question mark. If you're asking me, yeah, I have the review sample of the new Choco. I have it. I'm not listening to it right now just because, again, recovering from surgery, I don't want to be like bending over and reconnecting a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty much I set up my sound system before my surgery because I knew after my surgery I wouldn't be able to make any changes. And the way I chose to set it up is my Kinky Studio preamp and power amps, because that's like my personal amp. That's the one I love. The Live Harmony DAC, my Bucard S400 Mark IIs. Everyone knows that's my daily driver. And I couldn't decide on a subwoofer, so I put the Rel Carbon Special on the left and the Rhythmic FVX12 on the right. And I got them both dialed in like independently, not together, right? So I figured from there, I can decide which sub I want to use after the surgery, and whichever one I don't want to use, I'll just like turn it off or unplug it. And, so that's been really easy. And that's just the system I'm committed to for the next 30 days, pretty much. DeMorcan says, any comments on Prima Luna tube amps? Yeah, look, Prima Luna it's solid build quality. They make great tube amps. They do. They're loved by a lot of people. The Evo 100 is super cool because of the size. It's fairly compact. It's not too heavy. It's still got decent power for its size. But one thing I want to find out about is I think Prima Luna might rate their tube amps in peak power, because and this isn't a knock, this is my honest feedback. The 40 watts a channel I was getting from the Prima Luna seemed like less than the 25 watts I was getting from the Galleon. So I'd be curious what's going on there. Maybe they're rating peak power. I'm not sure. But the Evo 100 is so small. I mean, it's understandable, but it's good. It has good clarity. It has strong bass, nice organic mid-range. You can tube roll the hell out of it and get whatever sound you want. But Prima Luna is mostly known for its build quality. That's why a lot of people like it. I believe it's an amplifier most people feel like they can buy, and it's going to go for like 20 years without any issues. Ham also asks, also, are you going to get the new Billy amp? Yeah, I'll reach out to Itai about that. That's the owner of Heaven 11. I liked the Billy amp. I thought it was super cool, super unique. Again, another really small, compact amp. That thing's a powerhouse too. But yeah, I think the new modular design looks super cool. I'm curious to get my hands on that. All right, that's people talking to each other. I'm going to chime in on a conversation other people are having. Middle Earth is telling Louis that you can get tube amps that'll do 4 ohms or 8 ohms. And then there are companies that also allow you to do 12 ohms or even 16 ohms. Reach out to the manufacturer. A lot of the smaller outfits will give you like custom taps if you need that. Like I know Brunoco does that. You can reach out to them, and if you have like specific needs for a certain tap and a different resistance, I'm pretty sure they'll do that for you. Ted says, so excellent content. Thank you. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate the so. That's one of my favorite speech patterns I have about myself. When I watch my own content, like during the editing, and I see myself do that, I don't know why I like it. I guess that's a little bit self-centered maybe, but you got to like yourself, right? Like you're going to be yourself your whole life. So you should like yourself. Ham, this is a very good question. I've covered it in the past, but I'm happy to cover it again because there's a lot of confusion surrounding this question. Ham is asking, when you're connecting your subwoofer, is it better to go high level or low level? Well, it depends what you're doing, okay? First and foremost, if you're doing theater, you're always going to go low level. You will not get an LFE signal if you don't use your low level LFE output on your AVR or processor. So theater, you're going low level. The only scenario where you're going to go high level in a theater setting is if you're doing something unique with a REL subwoofer. REL is one of the only brands where they promote this kind of setup, and it is pretty cool and it does work really well. Let's say you got a set of bookshelf speakers up front or slim towers. They don't get super low, but you love them. You've got your dedicated LFE sub, but you wish you had more impact coming from your front stage. What you really want is a big pair of towers. Your home or budget or whatever reason just can't accommodate them. Or maybe you just love the sound of the slim towers or bookshelf speakers you have in your front stage already. You could add a pair of T7X or T9X subs, and you can tap off the speaker terminals of the back of the speaker or the amp, high level to that sub, and it's going to make those speakers sound like they're 2 or 3 times the size in terms of their sense of scale, their dynamics. Even it's going to seem like there's more output to them. There isn't necessarily more output, right? Unless you're doing a high pass, which I'm not super into. But those of you that have subwoofers, if you've done this test, you know what I'm talking about. Without a subwoofer, most people listen louder. With a subwoofer, everything seems louder, so you actually listen at a lower volume. So in a theater setting, that's low level versus high level. One's not better than the other. They're just very different. To get your LFE track, you must use your LFE output. Remember, LFE is a channel that is found in like Blu-rays or like some like streaming movies and such. It's just like your left channel, your right channel, your center channel. There's a subwoofer channel. It's called LFE. Now for a music system, 99.9% of the time you're going to use low level. Most subwoofers are designed to use low level. And for most subwoofers, the high level is what's considered a legacy connection. For those of you that have maybe a tube amplifier that does not have a subwoofer output or pre-outputs. Personally, I tend to use pre-outputs most of the time. The only reason low level's getting so much attention these days is because of REL. REL has their own circuit, their own high level circuit they've designed. The other subs that have high level, it's not the same thing at all. So if you're using a REL sub, they usually recommend you use high level. Why do they recommend that? And why does it sound better sometimes? And will another brand sub sound better with high level sometimes? The answer is yes, and here's why. The pre-out on your AVR integrated amp or whatever you're using as your main preamp, right? Sometimes those pre-outs are not clean signals. Sometimes they're filtered, especially if it's an inexpensive AVR and it's labeled sub out. A lot of times they're filtered. They have some kind of set processing to them. Sometimes they have phase issues with them. And if that's the case, it may be better to go high level. I've noticed in the inexpensive amplifier category, figure under $1,000, a lot of times high level subs may sound better. And it's not because high level is fundamentally a superior connection. It's simply because their pre-outs aren't that good, or their sub out is filtered in some way they're not telling us about, or there's a phase shift somewhere in whatever the hell filter they used on their sub out, which is a little bit frustrating. So you just want to tap off the speaker terminals and get a nice clean signal. But I suggest to everyone, if your subwoofer has high level and you think that might be the case, experiment. You can just buy some cheap cable off the internet. You don't need anything expensive to run high level. Experiment, see what it does. Where did I leave off? Novalicious says, thank you for your ultra detailed Arendelle 1528 review. Do you like them enough to buy them like the Platamons and some others? No, they're too big. They're way too big for me. They're too heavy for me. Even the Platamon, I don't use that much because of the weight. It becomes cumbersome to like swap them out. Like sometimes I want to listen to the Platamons, but then I get kind of discouraged because of the weight. It takes a lot to like move them around. I mean, I still do it. I still listen to the Platamons. I love them, but the 1528 are even heavier, even bigger. As I mentioned previously and many times, I do not like owning large, bulky, or heavy equipment. I don't like it. The only exception I've ever made to owning something larger than I'd like is the Rhythmic FVX12. And that thing goes against almost like everything I'm into. Like aesthetically, it's very Spartan and utilitarian. It's not very good looking. It's heavier than I'd like. It's way larger than I'd like. It doesn't look good in my room aesthetically, but I just love the sound so much that I don't care. I'm sometimes I consider like maybe I should buy the piano gloss version of the FVX12. Maybe that will make me happier as far as aesthetics go. But yeah, the 1528s they're not for me, man. Those things are way too big, way too heavy. Raymundi, hello from Latvia. What's up, brother? I always love to see people from other countries in the chat. Super cool. Thank you for shouting that out, brother. Who cares is saying that, okay, you know what? Someone told me this. I forgot. Black Ice isn't new. They used to be Jolita. Okay, cool. I don't know what happened to Jolita. There was like a lot of buzz about them for a while, and then it went away. I don't know. I've heard they make great stuff, though. Sean B., did you get Alvin's email congratulating America on our election? I thought it was funny, but obviously people freaked out. Yeah, man, that's a bummer, bro. Thank you for bringing that up, Sean, because I don't mind speaking on that. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize like how different cultures can be so different. For example, in my family, if there was a family function, best believe grandma was telling you you were overweight, and that was a compliment. She meant that in a good way. I know that sounds crazy to some of you guys, but like different cultures are different. In many if my anyone in here is from China, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe in China during New Year they don't say Happy New Year. They say I hope you get rich. I hope you get rich. That's awesome. I love that. I think that's super cool. But that would be so strange if you said that to someone like in English, like, it turns 2025. You look at your buddies, hey man, I hope you get rich. It might not even feel like a compliment, but in China, that's so normal. And in some countries, it's very normal to congratulate people when there is change, right? It's the idea of having a positive mindset. Whatever that change may be, we hope it might be for the better. And look, I've met Alvin. He is not a political guy at all. This email was not an endorsement for one party or another. This was simply him, he's disconnected from politics. He's an engineer. If y'all know any engineers, most of them not political people. Engineers generally don't care about that kind of stuff. He was just like, oh, there's an election. Let me shoot out an email and interact with my audience. That's all that was. And it kind of broke my heart a little bit to hear that so many people took that poorly, as if that was Alvin making some kind of endorsement, which just absolutely wasn't the case. If you read the whole email, it was very obvious that wasn't the case. I think some people is just angry because things didn't go their way. And I understand that anytime something doesn't go the way you want it to, whether it's how you ordered food at a restaurant and it wasn't as expected, or something that's more important to you, people tend to get a little upset when things don't go their way. But to take it out on Alvin when it was so obvious that he just meant well, that was kind of sad. That bummed me out. I didn't like that. I think humanity can do better than that, Oh, where did I leave off? Oh, wrong screen. Hold up, guys. All right, there it is. Whoops. Yama Fanboy says, hello, chat. Hi, Angel Nemo. The light's not shining on me anymore like it was, though. It's just not. I was angelic for 5 minutes there, though. Swift Raider says, hello, Nemo. I won the Platimons from Jay's. What? I didn't know Jay gave away Platimons. I asked if there was a chance to get the black one with the 26-inch stands, waiting on an answer from Monacoustics. Excited to hear them. I'll say this, bro. When you win something, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. It just is what it is. Maybe they send you a pink pair and you just be grateful. But I get it. We all have our taste and it doesn't hurt to ask, right? But I did not know he did a giveaway. That's a very big ticket giveaway. Congratulations. Oh my goodness. Swift, I want to know what amp you're using or what amp you plan on using with the Platimons, because if it's not up to par, the Platimon will show you. Platimon is not scared to let you know your amp is not up to the task. It is a highly resolving speaker. I don't know what your experience is. It may be the most resolving or revealing speaker you may have ever heard in your home. I keep it on hand, and one of the main reasons I bought it, despite enjoying it, is it can be a valuable tool for me oftentimes. When I want to just really hear into what a amplifier is capable of, or what a DAC is capable of. When I reviewed the Live Harmony, I was going between OS and NOS, and I thought I was hearing a difference, but I wasn't super sure. And I'm like, man, I need something that's going to put a magnifying glass on this. I'm like, the Platimons. I pulled out the Platimons, I put them on the stand, with the Live Harmony going back between OS and NOS. And I was like, oh my God, this difference is so clear. It's so easy to pick out now. And I had a lot more confidence explaining to you guys the difference between the OS and NOS mode. Hey, we got a super chat. What is it? Madam. Man, how do I say your screen name? Madam. I'm Madam 2. Bro, that is a tongue twister, but thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Those of you that don't know, if you super chat me money, I'm going to super chat it to someone else. That's what I usually do. I just pay it forward. So by all means, don't feel pressured you have to give me money. You know what I mean? But if you want to be kind or generous, that's super cool. I'll regift it to other content creators when they live stream. And I just like to keep that positive energy going. All right, where do we leave? I still can't believe that you want. That's a crazy thing to win, Swift. Like seriously, congratulations. Oh, you already told me you're going to pair it with the Unico integrated Mojo DAC and Cambridge MXN10 streamer. You might find the limit of the Mojo DAC, or you may feel with the Mojo DAC it's too analytical. I'm not sure. The MXN10 is good, but very few people are using $8,000 or $6,000 speakers, you know, depending on if you get the stands or not, with a $500 streamer. The MXN10 is good. It's good for $500. Don't get me wrong. It's a great streamer. You know, if you're using Kef R3 Meta, Bucard S400 Mark IIs, Totem Bison, Zoo DWX, or even like Fritz Carbons, but the Platamon is revealing. If it's not like beautiful in your system, I'm going to go ahead and say that MXN10 could be your weakest link, or the Mojo could be doubling down too much on that analytical sound. But then again, I use the Platamon with my Kinky Studio preamp and power amp, and that's doubling down on the analytical sound, and I really liked it. So, you know, personal taste is such a factor. Ben Gleason says, I was talking about the 300B and the closer acoustic Augie would be cool. What do you like, just in general, or you want me to review that? Because closer acoustic, they don't send review samples. I've emailed them a bunch of times. I never even get a response. And I'm not gonna like buy them just to review them. I'm past that point. In the early years of my channel, I used to buy gear in order to review it, and the channel was self-funded. At any given time, like in a year, like in 2019, for example, I crunched the numbers. I had spent like $12,500 of my own money just buying gear to review it. Now, I sold most of that gear after I bought it, but at a loss. I'd say I probably lost $3,000 or $4,000. And that's just what I had to do to get the channel big enough to the point where I would get review samples. But I always got to shout out the few companies that showed me love, even when my channel was tiny. Rel Acoustics, RSL, Emotiva, SVS, Iota VX. Those companies were more than happy to send me review samples even when I had like 2,000 subscribers. So it was super cool of them. I still can't believe you won the Platamons. That's crazy, bro. That is, I hope you're excited, bro. That's a crazy thing to win. That's just, it's such a big ticket item, you know? I think the only thing I ever won through like social media was like this giveaway for t-shirts. I won like $100 worth of t-shirts. I mean, that was cool. Don't get me wrong. Hold on, guys. I need a drink of the not sponsored yet, hopefully sponsored one day, best sparkling water in the world, Waterloo Strawberry. Where did I leave off? Wyatt says Pi 2 design Mercury streamer may be an easy review. Same tech and CO as, bro, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. These like Pi design stuff, I don't know anything about them at all, which is wild because I used to be super techie, but like the DIY side of things, not for me, man. Which is weird because I like, in other hobbies, I love tinkering, but in hi-fi, I don't like tinkering at all. Oh, why? It's because it's under 10 pounds. I appreciate you looking out for me, brother. I do. Ted K says, get a Carver C9 sonic hologram generator. Bro, that sounds like snake oil as hell. That sounds like the most snake oil name for a product. I'm not saying it is that, but sonic hologram generator. Damn, bro, that's a hell of a product. Does that thing make black holes? Ted, you're telling us this, trust you, they're only $200. Tell us what they do. What is this thing, man? This sounds crazy. You know what? Let's look it up. Let's learn together, chat. I'm gonna hop on eBay real quick. Let's see if I can find one. Sonic hologram generator. Yep, here it is. There's one for $200. Here's another one for $295, $275. There's a few different versions, it looks like. What the hell is this? Let's see if the eBay listing tells us anything. It just looks like a box. It's just like one input, one output. No, this listing doesn't say anything about what it is. Maybe one of the more expensive listings will tell us what it is. Let me see. Oh, this one's got more knobs on it. So yeah, there's a few different versions of it. Experience high quality audio with the Carver Model C1 preamplifier. Oh, this is a different product. My bad. Yeah, man, that's crazy. That's a crazy name for a product. Louis says the FTC rule shakeout will be interesting. Yeah, man, I keep hearing different things. Like sometimes I'll hear something that sounds like it's going to be a good thing, and then I hear like a different interpretation of the rules, and it sounds like it's a bad thing. So I'm curious to see what it's really going to be. I would like to see some like less BS because there's a lot of BS in the space. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, if there's an inexpensive amplifier and its class AB power doubles in 4 ohm, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. There's no like class AB amplifier that's inexpensive, like under $2,000 that can double. That's insane. You guys don't realize how insane that is. The level of efficiency you need to have for a class AB amp to double its wattage into 4 ohms is not possible. The manufacturers claim that spec all the time, you know? And look, part of the problem is us, the audience, because a lot of buyers, they read these things on the internet that a good amp should double into 4 ohms. And now they expect that from the manufacturer. It's not possible. The manufacturer's scared if they tell the truth, they're going to look bad because you guys are out here, not all of you guys, but some of you guys are out here avoiding some good high quality amps because you only see maybe it has 100 at 8 ohms and like 150 at 4 ohms. And you're like, oh, it's not doubling. That's not good. It's not high current, which isn't true. It's not true. Like if an amp goes from 100 watts at 8 ohms to like 150 to 165 and 4 ohms, that's fine. That's great. I got no problem with that. Very few amps truly double into 4 ohms, man. Very few. Also, I want to see more consistency. I'm sick of seeing some companies measure like, you know, oh, our amp makes 100 watts, but you find out that's 40 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Then another amp is like, oh, our amp makes, 60 watts, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. I value that measurement more. Then some amps say, oh, our amp makes 100 watts at 1 kilohertz. Then the Chinese Class D amps, oh, our amp makes 10 billion watts at 10% THD. Bullshit. So many of these specs are bullshit, man. It really pisses me off. What else we got here? Yeah, Middle Earth, this is a good point. He's congratulating Swift Raider on the Platamons. And he's saying there are 4 YouTube channels where the reviewer chose to buy the Platamon. And I'm one of them. That is true. And that says a lot about them. Yes, IIWI recently reviewed the Platamon. Great channel. Check him out if you haven't seen him. It's IIWI Reviews. He bought his review sample. I bought my review sample. Jay bought his review sample. I don't know who the 4th person is though. You said there was 4. Maybe I'm missing someone. Ben says Nemo needs Maggies. I want to check out Magnapens one day, man. I do. And I met them at Expona, and they were cool. I told them about my room size, the type of amplification I have on hand, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we think you're set up well to be able to review them properly, and let's chat more." And then, guys, I'm gonna tell you the truth. This year, I got back from Expona, and I hardly reached out to anyone. I hardly reached out to any of the people that I met. I just like I was already so busy. I already had so much review gear. I just did not keep that conversation going, and that's on me, you know. But they were willing, and I want to mention that because not all brands are, guys. You'd be surprised how many brands to my face at the show will be like, yeah, IIWI is it worth it? So many brands to my face will be like kind and polite. You reach out, ghosted, crickets, nothing. It's crazy, man. Some of these brands, their head is so far up their ass. They think like, oh, why would I do like a YouTube review? You only have like 25,000 or 30,000 subscribers. I only want someone with like 200,000 subscribers. Like, okay, bro, like every content creator has their value. That's what they don't realize. But whatever, it doesn't matter to me because there's so much gear out there. If someone doesn't want to work with me, I don't care, because there are so many brands to work with. You know, I have like such a steady supply of like review samples coming. Um, Two Madam is saying any Rex for a Class A or high bias Class AB that will drive CSS Typhons. Love my setup, but having issues with my Rogue Medusa hybrid, but want to go AB or A solid state. Love the channel and vibe. Thank you, bro. Thank you. What's your budget? You know, the Typhoons need power. That's a bass heavy speaker. You need power. And big power Class A is not cheap. And I don't have a lot of experience with Class A. Let's all just acknowledge that. I got to be honest when that's the case. The Pathos Inpol Remix Mark II, I loved that Class A amp. I really did. It's not cheap though. I think it's like $6,500. I don't know if you want to run Class A on the Typhons. The wattage you may need may be out of your budget, and that's not a jab. That's just like that's the Class A game. What I'd suggest, bro, is reach out to Jay, and because Jay has a lot of amplifier experience, way more than I do, especially in the higher end, more expensive arena, especially with his own speaker. And he doesn't even review most of the amps he has experience with, but like think about everything he's reviewed in terms of amps and just know he's experienced probably 10 times more than that. But holler at Jay and ask him that question. Let him know your budget. He should be able to answer that question pretty well. If it were me with the Typhons, I would do something like Kinky Studio. And it's not just because I own them. The Typhon is like very warm, very tonally rich, very strong, powerful bass. So as far as tone and texture and like warmth and richness, the Typhon already has that. So I want to pair it with an amp that can support that. I don't need to add any more warmth or richness at all. I need high quality power. As a matter of fact, I want that high quality power to be a little bit analytical to help give it a little bit of resolution so that it doesn't homogenize all my recordings. So personally, that's what I would use Kinky Studio, not the Choco, not the Choco. Their normal Kinky Studio. Choco is a warm amp, not that one. I love Choco. I would recommend Choco for Platamon, but not for Typhon. But yeah, ask Jay. I'd be curious what he says. Louis says, I love Alvin. Yeah, Alvin's a great guy. I think most people who have interacted with Alvin from Vinshine Audio love him. He's just a good, solid guy. Honestly, so polite, so positive, always in a good mood. It's great. We can all learn from him. Ham says, what amp should that guy use with the Platamons? Around 6K or so. A lot of that's going to depend what kind of sound you're looking for. But I think the Pathos amps paired really nicely with the Platamon. Again, that classic, what was it? A classic Inpol? No, sorry. Their names are kind of long. Pathos Inpol Remix Mark II. That was phenomenal, but you know, you could also use something like a Galleon TS120 SE. Different sound, of course, but or you can be crazy like me and double down on its analytical nature and do Kinky Studio, which I think may be too analytical for most people, but the low volume contrast it gives you is crazy. Like when I use Kinky Studio and Platamon together, I'm not cranking the volume, but Um, Billy says, oh man, I entered the raffle. Not jealous, just happy for you. It's okay to be a little jealous. It's human nature. It's okay. To Madam, thank you again for that $5 super chat. BS513, would Bucart I-150 be good enough for Platamons? I love Bucart. No, that would not be a good pairing. That would be, actually, I consider that a bad pairing. Bucart I-150 is a good amp for its flexibility, a lot of power, good casework, beautiful aesthetics, uses Hypex modules, a lot of modern features, room correction, fantastic amplifier. But I would not want to pair up a naturally cold sounding design, which is the bulk of like the Hypex Class D stuff, to a speaker that is so highly resolving. I think you're going to double down on the sound too much. And the I-150, and some of you guys might be like, well, you just said you could do that with Kinky Studio. Yeah, and I also said I think most people wouldn't like it, but you got to remember that my Kinky Studio stack is 3 times the price as the I-150. It has a lot more refinement. So while it is a little bit sterile, the level of refinement is so high, there's a payoff. But the I-150 will not be able to bring such refinement to the Platamon. I don't think Bucart Audio designed the I-150 to be used with like a speaker that is like 6K plus. And the Platamon at 6K, in my opinion, really competes with like 10K speakers. I don't think that's what it's designed for. I would not do that. Try it though. I mean, try it. You never know. I could be wrong. I didn't have those two products in house at the same time. Maybe you plug it in. Maybe your room acoustics are like very overly damped. Maybe with that room correction, it'll be beautiful. I mean, you never know, man. Larry says, late the stream because I just bought the new E50s. Hey, let's go. You bought the Bucart E50s. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. You said Bucart's new E50. Beautiful, beautiful. I hope to check them out soon. Right now, I don't believe there's any review sample available. Once there is, I will get a review sample, and of course, I will review it. You guys know I love my S400 Mark II. Stephen G or Stephen G says hello. Hello, what's up, dude? Jonathan Moore says, sup, dude, bro. That's an Armenian joke. A lot of people might not pick up on that. If you live in Southern California or you're familiar with Glendale, that's an Armenian joke. The Armenian community in Glendale, they say dude a lot, they say bro a lot, and oftentimes they'll like combine them together and you just get hit with a dude bro, and it's just a thing. A lot of cultures will have, like, I talked about this in my last stream. Persian people have their own version of that. I'm Persian, for a lot of people that might not know that, or Iranian, whatever you want to call it. All my uncles, man, when they talk, they want to make a point, they say, honestly, that's how they start their conversation every time. Or they say, let me tell you something, and then they go on and make their point. And I always just thought that was hilarious, just the speech patterns that are almost cultural, right? Let me read the rest of your comment. Where do we go? Sup, dude, bro, can you shout out to my uncle? His name is Hugh. All right, his name is Hugh Janus. He's a big fan too. That was a good one, man. That was a good one. I love to see audiophiles with a sense of humor. A lot of us, I've noticed, are too damn uptight. We take everything so seriously. So I love to see some jokes here and there. Even if you make fun of me a little bit, it's okay. I don't mind it. Let's have some fun, man. Life is too short, guys. We don't need to be so stressed out over stuff. Ted K says that sonic hologram generator has a snake oil name, but what it does is not. Yeah, I don't think it's snake oil. Bob Carver is a legit engineer. He's made some great products. I know that. Ted says, watch a video on it. Bro, I'm not going to watch a video on it. I'm doing a live stream right now. I wanted you to tell us about it so I could share it with the audience, but it's okay. Joan Frederick, NAD had the power envelope. What do you mean NAD had the power envelope? You mean they hit the power envelope? I don't know what you mean by that. I feel like that comment is missing some context. Swift Raider, Nemo, going to try Gold Line Tube 12827 with Unistern Research Unico. Do you have any suggestion on a streamer and DAC to outfit the Platimons? Bro, I'm still speechless. Gonna try to going to as some family to get, I don't know what you're saying at the end there, but my experience with streamers is limited. I personally know one thing. Most streamers under $1,000, the sound quality is mostly more similar than different. They might have different tonal characters, but their level of refinement is about the same unless you're doing something like a Blue Sound node paired with one of those upgraded power supplies. Personally, I use the LHY. I bought it from Vinshine, the board with the power supply, and that puts it like, from what I've heard from a lot of people, including dealers that sell $3,000 streamers, they say that Blue Sound node with that LHY power supply upgrade, or there's a lot of other brands that make that power supply upgrade. I don't even think it matters which one you get. Everyone I talk to that's done the upgrade says the same thing, whether it's the S Booster, the Polish company that makes it, or the LHY kit. Everyone loves it. It puts that stack, it comes out to like $800 total for the Blue Sound, the upgrade board, and the power supply, and it gets it shockingly close to what like a $3,000 streamer can do. The $3,000 streamer is still better, but what it can do for $800, it definitely beats just about everything else that's under $1,000. As far as streamers above that, those $3,000 streamers like the RLX or something like that Silent Angel Muse streamer that came out a couple months ago, or Arender. I haven't dabbled with those because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to want to buy one for myself, and I'm not trying to open Pandora's box. So yeah, I would say just run the MXN10 as it, just enjoy it as it is for now. Get to know the Platimons, become friends with them. You don't need to spend any more money right now. I'd say just enjoy what you got. Another super chat. Ken Lane, $10 Canadian 10 CAD super chat. Love you, man. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that. Much love, much love. Again, you guys don't need to give me money, but I appreciate it when you do. But don't feel any pressure, guys. I enjoy these conversations for free and for fun. Where did I leave off? Oh, and yeah, Swift, the Unison Research Unico, I haven't heard it, but everyone I've talked to that's heard it absolutely loves it. And I'm going to get a review sample at some point. Just I need to recover from my surgery before I get another like heavy amp. I don't know if that one's heavy or not, but Larry says the Yamaha S801 has been tested to double into 4 ohms. Link me. I don't believe it. Send me a link. I want to know who tested it. I'll be very surprised if it actually does with the same measurement. A lot of times 4 ohm measurements have a higher distortion threshold, or they're measured at a narrower frequency range than their 8 ohm spec, and that's usually the only way to get them to double. If it truly doubles, my hat is off to Yamaha. That's amazing. Good for them. I don't want to take anything away from that, but I don't believe it until I see it, just because it is so rare. And I'll look it up on stream if you could share a link. Swift says some super lotto tickets. LOL. Seriously, 13.8 thousand people entered and I won. Jay took the time to message me to make sure it's legit. Won't get too amped until they are received. Told Jay Korean barbecue when in Vegas. Yeah, I've had Korean barbecue with Jay a few times. They're a good guy. When I go to Expo, he's there, obviously. One year, Thomas was there too, and we all went and got Korean barbecue. That was a good time. XCVB says, watching from Sweden, cheers. Hell yeah. Again, guys, I love seeing people from other countries hop in the chat. Thank you for letting us know where you hail from. I hope the weather's beautiful. I've heard Sweden is an absolutely beautiful place. I have an auntie that lives out there. And here's the funny thing. So she's Middle Eastern, as I am. And She speaks Farsi, but her Farsi has a Swedish accent now, and it's really, really funny to me. But yeah, she says she absolutely loves it out there. Sean B says Vidar 2, 200 watts, 8 ohms, 200 watts, 4 ohms, 0.004% THC America. I mean, again, is that true wideband, bro? Like, let's check. Let's see if they tell us. You know, I'll go on Shit's website right now, and if they can really do it, like, respect to them, you know. But I don't believe it. So look, I'm on their website. Oh, hold on. Let me find your comments so I don't lose track. All right, there we are, Vidar. So I'm on their website. Speaker amps. So Vidar 2F. That looks like the only version of the Vidar that is out now. Maybe that's most likely the newest version. Specs. All they say is 100 watts RMS per channel. And then for Forum, all they say is 200 watts RMS per channel. They're not referencing distortion. They're not referencing the frequency response at all. And the second line, it does say frequency response of the amp is 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz plus or minus 0.03 dB, or 3 hertz to 500 kilohertz plus or minus 3 dB. But it doesn't say that that is in conjunction with the wattage, okay? So don't assume it is. Let's see what else they say. Oh, here's one for THD. Less than 0.004%, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 100 watts RMS into 8 ohms. I respect that. I appreciate that. This is a helpful spec. They're giving us a distortion reference. They're giving us the frequency range, the correct one, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's true wideband power. So I know for sure the Vidar is capable of good output at 8 ohms. There's no doubt about it. The amp is a powerhouse. It should drive just about any 8 ohm speaker. Let's see if they give us that same spec for 4 ohms. This is where most companies come up short. They gave us the wideband, good, respectable 8 ohm spec, but most companies won't do the same at 4 ohm. If they give us 4 ohm at all, it's usually at 1 kilohertz, or it's at 40 to 20, or it's at like 1% THD instead of that 0.004 very low THD they gave us. Let's see. Nope. Shit does not give us a wideband distortion referenced 4 ohm spec. Doesn't double into 4 ohm. Most don't. It's very, very rare. It like, you got to think there's like efficiency issues at play here. Like, it's not really possible. Guys, stop avoiding amps just because they don't double into 4 ohms, and stop buying them just because the marketing literature suggests they do. They don't. And it's okay that they don't. It's okay. Like, the only amps that I've seen reliably double into 4 ohm is in the car audio space. In the car audio space, those Class D powerhouses, the bulk of the good ones do double from 4 ohms to 2 ohms, and from 2 ohms to 1 ohm, they double again. That's a whole different game, though. That is a whole different game. And Sean B, I'm not trying to like call you out or be like, oh, you wrong. I'm just trying to show you guys the ways the companies show you this information can be confusing. And I'm not saying that Shit Audio is like shady for this. No, they're not. They're not. This is very normal. Most companies show you the information this way. Shit is not doing anything wrong here. They're not I don't think they're intentionally misleading anyone per se. This is how specs are. This is why I don't like specs. I hate specs, honestly. I get a little riled up about it because most people misunderstand the specs, and they're using these misunderstood specs to decide that one product is better than the other, or to make a buying decision. And I guess if you're happy at the end of the day, like, good for you. But if the specs can't really be trusted, if most of the time they're misinterpreted and misunderstood, what the fuck do they even matter? Most of them are bullshit. Even products I love have bullshit specs. I'll give you an example right now. You guys know I love the Hecko speakers, whether it was the Aurora or the Salon Revolution 3. I bought both of them. I own both of them. I love those speakers. Man, they claim 30 hertz bass extension. Get the fuck out of here. Those speakers don't go down to 30 hertz flat. They don't. They don't reference what the roll off is. That's another way they mislead you. They don't tell you. Yeah, it does 30 hertz minus 10 dB in room. That's bullshit, dude. Come on, man. It's okay if you want to give us the minus 10 dB spec, but give us the minus 3 dB spec also. And if you're going to give us the minus 10 dB spec, it should say minus 10 dB. Don't let us assume that it's flat down to 30, you know? And some of this is like, hey, let the buyer beware. If you really thought this little speaker can get down to 30 flat, like maybe that's your bad, but not everyone is a fucking engineer. Not everyone like is gonna spend their whole life like researching this kind of stuff. Like some people got other shit to do. Like the data, the specs should be easy to understand. They should be honest. They should be clear and simple. We should have 8 ohm wattage, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz reference distortion. Whatever the hell distortion you reference, your 4 ohm spec should be the same. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, reference that same distortion. Simple. Simple, man. These brands though, man, like the marketing people, they want to show the better number. I get that, but it causes so much confusion as a reviewer. Like I'm the one that pays the price because I get people that they always want to argue with me saying like this or that is better. And it's like, bro, you're just bench racing. You're just looking at spec sheets and deciding something's better than something else. The shit doesn't work that way. Like it's like looking at 0 to 60 times on cars and deciding like one's better than the other based on a 0 to 60 time. Like cars are more than their 0 to 60 time. Amps are more than just their wattage, you know? Hold on. I got riled up. I got to take a sip from the, again, not sponsored yet, but hopefully one day, best sparkling water in the world, Waterloo Strawberry. It's getting warm. I might need to grab a fresh one in a second, boys. Oh, Middle Earth says the other person that bought the Platinum is Zeos. Zeos, the original. I know he's not like the first hi-fi reviewer, but I consider him like the father of like hi-fi reviews. I do. I think Zeos inspired a lot of people. I respect that. I don't watch his content. It makes me dizzy these days, but I used to watch a lot of it, and how candid the man is. Like you gotta love it, man. Swift says, I have a buddy in Corona that used to do meetups to hear giant subs and speakers, rhythmic JTR, etc. Corona's not too far from me. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I think you said you were in Vegas too. Ben says Magnapan ghosted another reviewer as well. Ben, Magnapan didn't ghost me. That I went on a separate rant about brands that ghosted me. Magnapan was not one of them. Magnapan was cool. They were willing to send me a review sample. I just didn't follow up. That's on me. I just want to make that clear. I'll be happy to let you guys know when brands ghost me, like Morel. Fuck those guys. I swear to God, man. I swear to God, no one pissed me off more than Morel. They brought this amazing speaker to Axpona. Where is it? What, can you even buy it? The Avira? It was so amazing. Everyone was so excited for it. Where's the review sample? And just to be clear, they respond to me when I email them. You know what they respond saying? They say like, oh, we don't have a review sample. Do you want to review this Bluetooth speaker instead? The fuck you want me to look at a Bluetooth speaker? I'm asking about a proper hi-fi speaker. You offered me a fucking Bluetooth speaker instead? Guys, it really pissed me off. It really pissed me off. I gave up on Morel. I will still review it if they reach out to me. Their speaker sound is so good. I want to cover it. I want to review it. And I have a love for the brand. I love Morel. They make great stuff. A lot of you guys might not know this. They make custom drivers. They make their own drivers. They're very well known in the high-end car audio scene. They're very good at what they do. I want to review their shit. Stop offering me the Bluetooth speaker. Damn. Where do we leave off? I'm getting pissed off today. Riled up. This must be a result of being home for so long, recovering from the surgery, man. Swift says, I saw Zeos review. He is a character and entertaining. Makes me laugh a lot. Yeah, man, he's hella entertaining. He's definitely got a lot of personality, and he lets it come through the camera. He is so candid. He is so unapologetic. He ain't embarrassed. He'll show you the waifus. If the house is a mess, he doesn't care. He's like, this is me. Love it or don't. He doesn't care, and I respect that. I wouldn't. Personally, I don't know if I'll be putting the waifus up like that, but I respect it. He doesn't care. You have to respect that. Yama says Chinese Class D amp specs are measured and rated using the same ruler I used to measure my Wang. Yeah, bro. No, it's true. It's true. A lot of people don't know this. Most Chinese Class D amps give their wattage spec at 10% distortion. Ask them. They'll tell you. They're honest about it if you ask them. They won't print it on the box, though. But because I asked them, I'm like, 200 watts, is that at 10%? And they're like, they email me back, yes, that's at 10%. Okay. That's why that RSL IA255.1 is so powerful compared to the other Chinese amps that claim 200. RSL, a lot of you guys might not know this, they released their own little Class D amp. They designed it themselves. It's not just a recased Fosse or some shit like that. It's their own design, and it's got an honest 50 watts RMS of wideband power, and it outperforms most of those other inexpensive Class D amps. Okay, thank you. You're telling me how to say your name now because you saw I got mixed up. So it's to Madame, I'm Adam 2. Oh my God, yeah, it's a palindrome. Okay. Any Rex for a Class A or Class or high bias AB that will drive CSS Typhons. Love my setup. I feel like I answered that already. I said you got to ask Jay, bro, because my experience with Class A is limited. I'm going to recommend the Pathos Impol Remix Mark II, and that's the only Class A. No, I've reviewed other Class A, I guess. I reviewed the Galleon, TS120 SE, TS34, Wilsonton R300. I've reviewed a lot of Class A amps, I guess, but if you're asking for ones that will pair up with the Platinum well, it's going to be something expensive, you know what I mean, around its price, roughly. But I think Jay will be able to give you a lot more assistance than I can because it's his speaker, first of all, and again, he's got probably 100 times more experience with amps than I do. Someone is saying try Vincent. I don't know if you're telling me to review Vincent or if you're telling to Madam, I'm Adam 2 to try Vincent, but I've heard Vincent's good. I just haven't heard it. I hope to review it at some point. I was trying to spend max 4K. Shit tiers or Coda. I don't know if shit is going to get it done for you. 4K max. 4K max. Honestly, Choco Ime. That's what I would use, the Choco Ime. Oh, wait, no, I got mixed up. I got you mixed up with the Platamon guy. No Choco Ime. Shit. For Typhons, Kinky Studio EXM1 Plus. It's not Class A, but like you're not going to get big power Class A for $4,000. Like those big power Class A amps are like 15, 20 grand. You know what I'm saying? If I had the Typhon, I would use the Kinky Studio EXM1 Plus, or like something by Luxman. I think Luxman would pair really well with the Typhon, but I think Jay can answer that question much better than I can. Swift says, if you recall, I asked about the Muranos, comparing them to Sonos Faber Sonettos and Veneer 2s, 2.5s. Yeah, I guess you don't give a shit about that comparison no more. That's just, you don't need to know that. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I do remember that. I'm not a big fan of the Sonos Faber sound, from what I've heard personally. Okay, saying he's thinking about the M7. If you use the M7, make sure to pair it up with Kinky's own preamp. Their preamp is very, very, very high quality. It's very good. Sean B, message retracted. I always wonder what people say with their retracted message. Usually just like typos they're fixing and stuff, and they re-ask it again later. Sean B says, trivia. Who was Kinky Studio named after? It was named after the owner's wife. I'm guessing it's not actually pronounced kinky in their language, but in America, Kinki is kinky, and that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, someone's saying XCVB is saying Veneer 2.5 were disappointing, unrefined. I mean, they're old speakers at this point. You know what I mean? Try Dolly. I didn't love my experience with Dolly either, man. I tried those Oberon ones. They weren't bad. The bass was tonally rich, remarkable, beautiful bass. Dolly's wood pulp, which is a fancy way of saying paper cone, really is shockingly just tonally rich and harmonious and beautiful with what it can do with its bass. I loved it. But I felt the treble from the Oberon one was so sharp. You really got to pair that up with a warm amp. At least I would have to enjoy it. All right, what else we got? Middle Earth says the new shit Wotan dual mono high power Nexus trademark differential power amp. You could run one for 2K and 2 in mono for 4K. What the hell is that? That's a hell of a name. I'm already on shit's website. Let's see if it's on here. That's a Wotan dual mono? What the hell? Such a name. Speaker amps. Oh, yeah. Okay, wow. So this is their new most expensive amp. So they have the tier. That's their mono block, $1,600, and you need 2 of them. It's a mono block. Wotan's $2,000. What is this? So it's a dual mono high power Nexus differential power amp. So it's essentially like it has 2 channels. It's a stereo amp, but the design is dual mono. And knowing shit, it's probably a true dual mono, like 2 mono blocks inside a single chassis is what it most likely is. They are one of the brands that, you know, when they say something, they usually mean it. Never heard it. That's a brand that doesn't really send a lot of review samples. They got a small group of reviewers they work with. They're pretty happy with that small group, and it doesn't seem like they're interested in working with any other reviewers, and that's okay. I respect it. I don't think they need me to sell their products. I think their products probably sell really well as is, and they don't need another reviewer. What else we got here? Larry saying the E50 won't be released until December. Yeah, so I probably won't get my review sample until January or February then. Jonathan Moore says, lol, love you, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Much love. Ham says, could the Wilson's and R300 work with the Platimons? Odd question, I think, but I'm curious about the balance of revealing and tubiness. I mean, it could, yeah, but no, it's too down market, honestly. That's way too down market. You're not going to get the resolution the Platimon is capable of. They're going to be veiled compared to how they should sound. It doesn't mean it's going to sound bad, right? It may sound good. You're just not going to get the most out of them. It could be an enjoyable sound, but I certainly wouldn't call it its natural pairing. The cheapest amp I would pair with the Platimon is the Choco Ime, and that combination together actually sounds fantastic. So Ted K says, so what the C9 does is, okay, thank you. He's telling us about the snake oil sounding Carver thing. That we know is not snake oil because Bob Carver is a respectable engineer. So what the C9 does is it takes the signal from the right speaker, puts it into the left speaker out of phase, and then takes the left speaker and puts it in the right speaker out of phase. That sounds crazy. So they cancel out the opposing signals like you have headphones on and can't hear opposite speakers in each ear. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know if I'll buy one because I don't want to add another box to my system, but hopefully I get to hear one day. That's definitely interesting. Pat Frederick, Mr. Frederick, another message retracted. Probably fixing a typo. I'm guessing we'll see the question afterwards. Jonathan Moore, you gonna get your hands on the new Eversolo A10? No, I'm not really a fan of Eversolo, to be honest. I felt their product was good, but a little bit overhyped, honestly. And just like in the background, knowing who they're affiliated with a few people. I'm not really down with, and like, yeah, that's me, bringing my like personal feelings into it. But the sound quality alone, that's just, I'm keeping my emotions out of it. I had no idea who they were affiliated when I reviewed their streamer. I had no clue at all. I found this out very recently, to be honest with you guys. But I felt it was good. I think most people just bought it because of the screen, because it looked good. But the sound quality, Blue Sound Note is better. Honestly, it's like a lot better. The Eversolo just like looks cooler. I also didn't think its build quality was very nice. I didn't. I don't have any plans to review Eversolo, and I'll even go as far as to say it's probably a brand I personally will intentionally avoid. There are a few brands kind of on my shit list where I will intentionally not cover them. I will avoid them. Eversolo is one of them. Stark Sound is one of them. Monolith Subwoofers is one of them. What else? At this point, Sioux Research is one of them. And not because Sioux Research is bad, but they ghosted me so many times when I tried to work with them that I'm at the point now. It's like, if you reach out now, it's like, okay, you didn't want to work with me when my channel was smaller. You didn't even have the courtesy to email me back and say anything, but you want to work with me now, my channel is bigger. Like, no, thank you, And some people may feel like, oh, this is me being bitter. No, I'm not being bitter. There's thousands of hi-fi brands out there. Why would I wish to work with someone that doesn't have good manners with me when I could so easily work with someone else who's like happy to work with me? Someone else, it's like, why would you try to convince a girl who's not into you to go on a date with you? There's millions of women out there. Go talk to one that likes you. If this girl thinks you're ugly, okay, find one that thinks you're cute. Like, you're gonna find it. They're out there, man. So like, I'm just like, I'm not gonna work with companies like that, What else we got? And just to be clear, like, again, I'm not dogging on Sioux Research. I'm sure they're nice people, but for whatever reason, they just like really seem to not care for me. Whatever. Christos Laika says, which would be better for music for my Triangle Bria Bro 3? Rel 1003 Mark II or SVS SB1000 Pro? So this is another Rel or SVS question. So I want to encourage you to watch the dedicated review video I made where I cover this topic. Rel versus SVS is the title of the video. I'm going to go ahead and say the Triangle Bro 3 can go either way. If you want bass that is a little bit more in your face, is going to grab your attention a little bit more, is going to be more the central focus of the experience, you may really enjoy that SB1000 Pro. If you want bass that's going to be a little bit more in the background, not in your face so much, and instead sound like more of like your Bria Bro 3s are just a bigger speaker with more extension, then you want to go for the 1003 Mark II. But I covered this in a lot more detail in my Rel versus SVS video. Feliciano, what's up, dude? And always nice to see you hop in. Nemo, I need to buy subwoofers before the tariffs come in place. LOL. Where are you located? Why are your tariffs going up? That sucks, bro. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, just buy some damn subwoofers then. I'll always support people buying subwoofers, guys. Big fan of that. You know what? Give me a second, guys. This has gotten warm. I got to grab a fresh one. BRB. Whew. Give me a second, guys. Oh. Sitting down and getting up is still something I got to be careful with the surgery. Okay, so for those that weren't on the last live stream, I'm going to share some audiophile knowledge. How to open a can the audiophile way. I went over this in the last live stream because some of us were sensitive to that crack. Personally, I hate it. It really annoys me. Look, place your thumb just right over that. You don't need to like press or anything. Your thumb's there just to dampen it. And then look. No crack. Really easy. If you got a sleeping baby, that'll probably be helpful too. All right, where did we leave off? Victor, hey pal, working in the studio today, so can't really comment, but have you on in the background and always appreciate your live streams. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that. For those of you guys that don't know, this is what I do. If I can't watch someone's live stream, but I want to support them, I put it on my computer and I just let it play and I just turn the volume all the way down. That way I'm like giving them the view. I do that all the time. Then I go back and I watch it later. I don't mind if you guys do that with me. I'm not like saying you have to or like do whatever, like it, you know what I mean? But that's a really easy way to support a content creator's live if you don't have time to participate. So I appreciate that, Victor. Thank you. And it sounds like, you might be listening a little bit. So thank you for doing that. But even if I'm muted, I don't mind. Joan says power envelope was a gimmick in their amps. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. NAD used that just to sell amps. I know, as I owned a few of the amps, snake oil in my opinion. So Joan is saying NAD was one of the brands that was known for juicing up their wattage specs a little bit. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. It's a bummer. I mean, they make good sounding stuff. Tough company to work with though. Oh my goodness. You're not going to see me reviewing anything by NAD. I'm willing. They're not. They're very Rolex on the wrist, pinky up, nose in the air. That's kind of their vibe. And I think I'm a little too rough around the edges for them. That's okay. So Louis says, if you go to the bottom of the Vidar spec page, they have a link to audio precision measurements. And indeed, the 4 ohm measurement has a much higher distortion. They aren't hiding anything. Hey bro, Louis, I wasn't implying that shit was doing anything wrong. I think I even said like, hey, shit is not being shady here. They're showing us the information the way most brands do. Like, I was not trying to dog on them whatsoever. In my comment, all I was saying is it's not uncommon that information is left out. Like, okay, it's at the bottom of the page. Like, I appreciate that. But they happily highlighted the 8 ohm spec, wideband, reference to distortion. Why wasn't the 4 ohm right below it? You know what I mean? Not everyone has time to like scroll to the bottom of the page, find this little, like link and like what? I can't even click on it. So I don't know if it's down right now or if it's just the issue with my browser. But anyways, I'm sure it normally works. But look, shit is one of the more honest companies. Okay, let me just be clear about that. They're a good company. They make good products. Their owner and lead engineer is very good at what he does. I am not dogging on them. And I got no reason to protect them. I don't work with them. I don't review their products. They don't even want to work with me. But when someone's good, they're good. Shit Audio makes good stuff, and they're one of the more honest and one of the more transparent brands. 100%. All I'm saying is I would like to see that 4 ohm spec right underneath that 8 ohm spec, reference to distortion and reference to frequency. I don't think that's too much to ask. And not just from shit. I want it from everyone. I want that to be industry standard, man. Ken Lane says, any experience with Axiom speakers? Why does this sound familiar? Let me look them up. The answer is no, just so we're clear. I never heard Axiom speakers, but here's our website, axiomaudio.com. Products, view all products. What do they have? Yes, I agree to your stupid cookie policy. Looks good, reasonably priced. Looks like they're using that like clay ceramic woofer. I could be wrong. I'm just judging based on looks. Let's find out. So they have this M3 bookshelf speaker, $758 US a pair. This is a very fair price. Looks like it has a good cabinet. We have some color finishes. Ooh, the eggshell white. It's like a little bit of an off-white, cream white. That looks good. You could choose your grill material, guys. I know that matters to some of you people. And I get that. I get that. You know, if you use grills, I would say there's a lot of value in being able to choose your own grill color. No, I was wrong. It's not a clay ceramic. It's an aluminum woofer. I was wrong. Anyway, no, I've never reviewed Axiom. I'm not opposed to it. We've just never connected. Louis saying consumers also need to educate themselves. Like, Louis, I agree with you to some degree. I do agree with you that consumers can do a better job at educating themselves, but let's consider the price. If we're talking about a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 product, I agree with you. The consumer should educate themselves. But what if we're talking about an amp that's like $300 to $500? An inexpensive AVR that most casual guys are going to use. I mean, there's thousands of guys out there these are not audiophiles. These are not big home theater buffs. They're just guys that like good sound. They like to kick back and relax with the family, put a movie on, and they want it to sound great. That's just the average consumer. Is it reasonable to expect that guy to learn a ton about wattage and distortion and how it's measured and how it's referenced and look at graphs? Is that a fair expectation for something that's like $200 or $300? I don't think it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it is. But I do agree the consumer could do a little more on their part, but the shit is very difficult. You got to remember, Louis, your level of knowledge you have now has been collected over many years, right? Most of the audio files I'm talking to right now in this chat, you guys have been audiophiles for years. Many of you, your whole life, a decade, 2 decades, maybe 4 or 5 decades or more. Everything you've learned is over this very long period of time. If you had to learn it all at once to buy a $200 or $300 amplifier, you'd be like, this is crazy. Like you would get overwhelmed, you know? Who Cares says, I love that screen name, honestly. Who Cares says, I was just at Capitol Audio Fest and Chesky Records' son has a new speaker. I never heard of Chesky Records. That's a crazy name. His son, I guess, has a new speaker. He's showing off. They are just under $1K a pair and they sound fantastic. You should reach out. Made in the USA. Chesky Records? This is a crazy name. Let me look this up. Well, if it's his son, I need to know what's the name of the speaker, bro. Let me know. I'll send him an email. You know, if the size and weight are compatible with me. Because again, for those of you just hopping in, not everyone knows this, and it's okay. I am recovering from a surgery that I just had 8 or 9 days ago. I cannot have anything heavy in for review. But let us know the name of the speaker, bro. I'll look at it right now. M&M List. Hi, good morning from Malaysia. What is up, brother? What is up? Thank you for hopping in again. Love seeing people from other countries chime in. Super cool. Adam is saying, sorry to double up on the chat. Pay it forward. Wife loves the show too. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. No need to apologize. James Derby says, my towers have presence down to 37, but not exactly pressurizing the room. Want a pair of SQ subs, 2K to 3K budget. I mean, you want SQ subs? You got options, bro. If you're in the USA, Rhythmic is the easy choice. If you're outside of the USA, Rel is the easy choice. Boom, you're done. You know what I mean? I don't, it's hard for me to just kind of like blanket recommend stuff, but I do appreciate you included your budget, but I don't know your room size and stuff like that. I don't know if you're a movie guy or a music only guy. You know, if you're music only, hell, a pair of T9Xs might be all you need, you know, or some classic 98s or 99s. But if you're a theater guy, you know, you might want a pair of 1205 Mark IIs, or, you know what I mean? So give us a little more information. Maybe let us know what you've narrowed your list down to, and I'm happy to chime in, bro. Sean B is, oh, you're telling the other dude to get his kinky choco before the tariffs hit, or are you telling me that? I already have my choco. Wyatt Gormley says, boom, Mercury Streamer is a Vinshine product, not a kit. Mercury Streamer, Vinshine. Let's look it up. Oh, shit. I almost dropped that. I mean, I see they got the Volumio. What else they have? No, go away, pop up. Pi 2 network streamer. Oh, Mercury V2, I see it. Yes, 749 Singapore. So like probably like $600 US. That's not too bad in terms of price. I'll holler at Alvin and see what this is about. Not all streamers are the same. Some streamers are like the Blue Sound, for example, is designed for like the average consumer. It has its own app. You don't really need anything else. Then there's a whole other category of streamers designed focused around PC audio. I don't use a PC at all. I remember there was a streamer, I think it was the Denafrip streamer. I wanted to check it out. And I reached out to Alvin and I'm like, hey, I want to review this streamer. And he's like, no problem, no problem. Yeah, for sure. And he's like, or do you use Rune? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, this streamer is like really designed to take advantage of Rune. And I was like, yeah, I'm not into that. And he's like, it's not for you then. So I'll ask Alvin if this is more like a consumer grade streamer that I could use. But again, if it's more like based around like the PC music user or someone that has like on-site storage, like those types of streamers are not something I can review. Oh, Adam, also, again, thank you for the super chat. Tell your wife I said hello. I appreciate that she loves my work as well. I mean, and lucky you to have a wife that is on board with the hi-fi journey. How cool is that? You got to be one of the luckiest guys in the chat. You and Mr. Frederick, you're the only two I know whose wife is so supportive and also part of the hobby. I love it. Zombieland, longtime subscriber. Hello, Nemo. I'm looking for a streamer just outside the entry tier, if that makes sense. I'm looking to spend around $1,000 to $1,500. I have a musician Pegasus as a DAC, Choco, Ime, and Q Acoustics Concept 3. Nice system, bro. Nice system. I don't have a ton of experience with streamers, so let's just get that out of the way. I just like to be clear about that, and that's intentional. I purposely stayed out of the like $3,000 category. But in my opinion, I think a Blue Sound node paired with the LHY power supply is tough to beat at that price range, because streamers are generally like, and I've heard this from like dealers that carry a range of products. I've heard this from guys that have years and years of experience. Streamers under $1,000 roughly have similar sound quality. The next step up is like around $3,000. You know, $1,000 to $2,500 is kind of no man's land. I'm not saying there's nothing there, but as far as like your next jump in performance, it generally comes closer to the $3,000 price point. So if you're between 1K and 1.5K, I would go with the Blue Sound node paired with the LHY power supply board and power supply. That's what I did, and I could not believe what an upgrade that $300 power supply kit was. I could not believe it. I gained holographics. I got a quieter background. It was just insane. I thought power supplies were snake oil for years, and it kind of blew my mind. I'll go ahead and say the Blue Sound Node LHY power supply upgrade was my biggest shock and surprise of 2024 for reviewing a product. Larry says, buy American and avoid you, and you avoid the tariffs. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about, all these tariffs, man. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Some of you guys might be more up to speed than me. Some people might not know this. Like I think a lot of people think I'm like hyper political because I'm like into guns and stuff. I'm not like that political actually. Like I'm really not. I'm like a very like balanced person. I'm like a very like, okay, if you're like gay and you want to get married, bro. Like that's cool with me. You like guns, you should be able to buy them. Like I have like a mixed bag belief system. I think I just believe like people should be able to kind of like be happy for the most part, do what they want. You know what I'm saying? As long as it's not like harming someone else, you know? Um, like if you're 18 plus, you want to tattoo your whole body, go for it. You know what I mean? Like that's cool. But if you're under 18, you probably should. I don't know. 18 plus, you should. I don't think it's a good idea to tattoo your whole body. I got friends that did that, and I asked them one time. I was like, "Hey, you're older now. You're like 30 years old or so. How do you feel?" And they're like, "I don't regret it. I love my tattoos, but if there was a technology where I could like take a pill and wake up the next morning with all my tattoos gone, I would do it." So, you know, but yeah, I'm not up to speed on these tariffs, guys. I'm sorry. Damn, NA, you were referencing an old video. You must have been with me for years. I remember your mini speaker reviews shootout from a while back. Those are like one of my first few videos. Damn. You talking about I did like the Silverline Minuet Supreme Plus, the PSB Imagine Mini, and I think the Monitor Audio Radius 90. Damn, that's old. I think most of those videos have been taken down since. I delisted them. I was so fat in those videos. I was like maybe 50, 60 pounds heavier. And I saw them and I was just like, oh my God, I look hideous. I got to take these off the internet, you know? But you're asking if I'm interested in Ascend Acoustics. Luna, you got a pair. I appreciate it, bro, but I don't take loans from subscribers. It makes me feel some kind of pressure that I just don't enjoy. If it's a very close friend, like maybe, but I don't like borrowing people's gear. I did it one time and the speakers were like fucked up and the dude didn't know, which was like crazy because the distortion to me was like so obvious. And I called the dude right away. I'm like, hey man, like thanks for letting me borrow these, but like I can't review these, man. These are damaged. And he's like, what are you talking about? And it was like super awkward. Like he didn't think I did anything wrong, but like I still felt like weird about it. You know what I mean? And like I just don't like that. Like I'm down to review a send. You know, I'm pretty sure I've shot him an email before and they've ghosted me, but I can't really remember, so I might have not. And you know, if I get light on gear, I'll reach out to them and I'll see what they say. But I appreciate it, but I don't want to take loans. Louis says, right, I don't own a shit amp. I was just pointing out that the info is there and where to find it. I appreciate that, bro. I mean, it's good to know that they do include some more in-depth stuff for the people that are into that. Always pushing, longtime subscriber. What's up, bro? He says, no one is educating themselves with all these cheap Class D amps, myself included. All I know is I plug them in, paired with several $750 range of speakers and enjoy myself. Yeah, man. Look, a lot of the inexpensive stuff is decent. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's not bad. And a lot of the $750 speakers are pretty good too. So you can definitely get some good sound. Feliciano says SoCal. You in SoCal? I'm in SoCal too. Ben Gleason, Chesky speakers are small. Audiophile Junkie featured them on YouTube. Oh, okay. Ken Lane says Axiom makes the Bryston speaker line, as far as I know. Okay. I mean, that's cool. I never heard Bryston speakers either, but I haven't heard Bryston anything, honestly, but. Larry says that Axiom apparently doesn't send their speakers out for review. They are Canadian, have a nice return policy, and they respond to emails. They have their own YouTube channel. Yeah, see, and there's companies like that. That's okay. That is okay. How a company chooses to market their product and their brand, it's up to them. And if that's their stance, that is cool. I just hope they're respectable enough that if I reached out to them for review samples, they would just email me back saying that, hey, we appreciate your interest. At this time, we are not looking for any additional reviews of our products. Our products come with a generous return policy, and we like to promote that the customer try them in their own home instead of watching a YouTube video. That's our stance. That's our belief. And I would respect that so much. The problem I've run into is so many companies are coy. They're like run by people that seem to not have a spine or a backbone, and they just can't communicate, you know? But I would have no problem if Axiom said that to me. I'd be like, hey, good for you, man. How you decide to run your organization, that is up to you. If you rather people try them in home and you're willing to take those returns if people don't like them, like, I respect that. That is awesome. Middle Earth says you can get at the owner of Mercury 3. Yeah, I'm not really trying to get into streamer right now, though, bro. I appreciate the info. Streamer's kind of a pain in the ass to review, and I'm just not trying to go on that journey right now. I got away from a lot of what I really wanted to do this year. I want to focus on, subwoofers, integrated amps, and bookshelf speakers. James Derby says 2-channel only. Room is 14.7. Shortlist is SB2000 on sale, T9X or F12. So I'm going to again point you, because you're asking again, REL or SVS. I'm going to point you towards my REL versus SVS video where I cover that topic. I don't believe those two subwoofers should be cross-shopped. They are very different. SVS makes a good high-quality SPL subwoofer. REL and Rhythmic make really good high-quality SQ subwoofers, and they're a very different experience. And you want to watch that video. The title's REL versus SVS. So yeah, that's my answer there, my bro. Give me a sec. How long have we been going? What's the time at? 106 minutes? That's usually about the time things start to slow down. So we might be at the tail end of the stream here. Who Cares says they are Chesky Audio LC1 bookshelf monitor. They weigh 18 pounds. Okay. I mean, that's not too heavy, man. Let me see if I can look that up right now. If they just had them at a show, it might not be on their website yet, but, let's see. Oh, I think it is. Oh, whoa, that is crazy looking. Guys, if you're in the chat, you got to look this up. This is a crazy looking speaker. It looks like the shape is mostly a cube. What are these drivers? Obviously, looks like it's got about a 1-inch tweeter, but it's got a giant passive radiator on the side, taking up almost the entire side of the cabinet. Kind of, I know Definitive used to do stuff like this back in the day. I don't usually love passive radiators, which I know is ironic because I love Bucart and I love REL. I do love those two, but those are exceptions. For the most part, I rarely love passive radiators. So look, it's got a 6.5-inch mid-bass driver that's active, front firing. Hold up, these are not passive radiators. It says dual internally balanced 8-inch fluid coupled subwoofers for robust extended deep bass. Those are dual 8s on the side, and those are powered, like powered by the amplifier. If so, that's crazy. This is basically like almost look, what? Yo, if this design is what I think it is, and those are not passive radiators, I want to review this. I definitely want to review this. This is so unique and interesting. There's nothing like this really. Most of the time when we see those side firing drivers on speakers, those are passive radiators. They, just serve to kind of further enhance the bass at a specific frequency, much in a similar way a port does, not in a very different way actually, but the concept or the goal is similar to that of a port. And that's all they really are. But this looks like these are drivers that will receive wattage from your amplifier and they will be driven. And that is Guys, look this up. Chesky Audio LC1 bookshelf monitor. That is crazy. I'm gonna leave this tab open, and after this stream's over, I'm gonna send him an email, see what's good. Ben Gleason says, sounds pretty libertarian to me. So you want to know how not into politics I am? I don't even know what libertarian is. I don't even know what that is. But maybe that's what I am. I don't know. Blah says, think Sue's in Anaheim. Yeah, I know where they are. Yeah. That's one of the reasons it frustrates me. I'm not too far from them. They used to let the public in to listen if you make an appointment. Yeah, like I said, man, I tried reaching out to them 3 times. I called them. I sent 3 emails. I guess that's 4 times technically. I told them, I'm like, hey, I'm 30 minutes down the road. You don't even have to pay shipping. I will come over, pick up a review sample, review it, and drop it off when I'm finished with it. No response. Sergey Gonkar, yo, got here live. Actually, here's the question. I was wondering, do you think it's still worth it to DIY? Or are some of these deals on Chi-Fi or direct sales like Bookart so good that it's not worth it? So DIY can definitely still be worth it. Now, let me explain. So very few internet direct brands are offering like tremendously more value than their price. That is a big misconception, actually. I love the Bookart S400 Mark II. It's my daily driver. You guys know I love the hell out of that speaker. But is it really performing above its price category? Is it like some extreme value? No. I've never said it's extreme value and things like that. It's a really, really good speaker. I love it. It's like $2,200. But compared to other really good speakers in that price category, it plays in that ballpark. KEF R3 Meta, Bookart S400, Totem Bison, Dynaudio Evoke 20. Those speakers are all, or a fine F500 SP. Those speakers are all really good, and their ultimate sound quality is really similar. KEF is not manufactured direct. Bookart is, but they compete against each other around the same price because it's not like it used to be. It's not like 2002 anymore. These internet direct companies, you know, they got to spend some pretty serious marketing dollars to get their name out. Don't get me wrong, they're making money too. You know what I mean? But it's not as inexpensive to be internet direct as it once was. Like even Emotiva, they have a big staff. You know what I'm saying? They got a warehouse, order fulfillment, and like, no, I don't think most internet direct brands are offering tremendously more value necessarily. Same with the Billy amp. I love the Billy amp. It's so good. At its price, it performs very admirably. But I would not say the Billy amp destroys other $2,000 amplifiers that use a more traditional dealer model. As far as DIY being worth it, it depends. If you want crazy bass, for example, and you want to do some crazy like DIY 21-inch subwoofer build, you're for sure going to get more like bass for your dollar, especially if you have the tools already to like build a cabinet by like buying your own plywood and you know how to design your own cabinet. Plate amps aren't too expensive. You could save a couple bucks, but you're going to spend your time instead, which is worth something, you know. There are, though, very affordable 21-inch subwoofers like Power Sound Audio, so it's not like it used to be where you would save like 80%. You might save like 30%. You know, let's see what a Power Sound 21-inch subwoofer is these days. So let's go to their subwoofers. So their 21s are still pretty expensive. They got this TV21, $2,100. So you could probably build your own cabinet with about $300 worth of wood. I haven't checked wood prices recently. You probably, let's see how much power this thing has. It's got almost 2,000 watts RMS. A plate amp that can deliver that power is not going to be cheap. You can probably build this yourself for like $1,200, $1,300. you know? Is it going to come out as nice? Are you going to have any resale value? It's give and take, right? DIY speakers. There are some speakers DIY that still make sense in my opinion. CSS. Their Crichton 1TD and Crichton 1TDX are incredible. Let's see what these things cost now. Because a lot of prices have changed, right? So let's go to their kits. CSS is having a sale 10% off everything, it looks like. So the Crichton kit is $774 for the 1TDX. That, I mean, you assemble that yourself, and that CSS 1TDX is going to compete with Bucard S400, Kef R3 Meta, like all those speakers, and you're going to have it for under $1,000. So yeah, there's still value. But then, like some people would be like, but you know, you can buy like a Zoo DWX for like $1,400. Yeah, that's a very different sound though. You want like a crazy bass capable speaker, like a R3 Meta or an S400, and you can't afford it. The CSS 1TDX is, I mean, it performs on par with those speakers for half the price because it's DIY, you know. Let's see what it is when we add the flat pack and everything though. MDF flat pack. Let's go with standard components. $934. It goes up to $934 with the flat pack. So still, man, it's half the price. Yeah, I think DIY can definitely be worth it. All right, where did I leave off? Damn, we still got 55 people in here. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. BS513, yeah, I remember your first review running with Emotiva amps. Yeah, I had the Emotiva TA100. That's what I had originally. And then pretty quickly, I got the Kinky monoblocks, and I was still using the Emotiva TA100 as a preamp. And then like a month later, I added their EXP7. Kristen Ray, good day, Nemo. My first live chat. Welcome, Kristen. Welcome. Appreciate that. Rolex, DSSD, yo, what's good, bro? You're always in the lives. I appreciate you, man. Shoplin, what DAC did you use in your Choco review? Back then, I would have been using the Aries 2 by Denafrips. Great DAC. Yama, my laptop keyboard is messed up, so it's slowing down my commenting speed using the on-screen keyboard. I just typed the whole alphabet on the keyboard, LOL. All right, then. Yeah, I mean, shit, get a new keyboard, bro. Oh, it's a laptop. Yeah, I mean, you could still, like, I just replaced the internal battery on my laptop, and, like, dude, taking those things apart is, I mean, the screws are so small, but you can replace your own keyboard. You should be able to source one off of Amazon, like a aftermarket one. I used an aftermarket battery. My laptop's more than 5 years old. I'm like, why am I going to spend like almost $200 on an OEM Dell battery? This laptop is almost obsolete anyway. I just want to get another couple of years out of it. I'll just buy a $30 off-brand battery from Amazon. It's been working just fine. You could do the same with keyboards, bro. And I know you're pretty handy, bro. You can replace that yourself. I believe in you. Honestly, you might want to consider changing your battery while you're at it. What could be happening if it's an old laptop, this is what happened to me. The old battery swells and starts to put pressure on the keyboard, and you start to have issues. So I'd replace your laptop battery and keyboard. You could probably find replacement parts on Amazon off-brand for like $65 total for both. Kiowa says, did you try Bucard S400 Mark II with super tweeters? For my taste, they lack sparkle and top-end clarity. I mean, yeah, bro, the Bucard S400 Mark II is a warmer speaker. It's not a high-resolution speaker like a Focal Aria or even like the Fine F500 SP or Triangle Comet 40th. No. But you have to remember, I'm using Bucard S400 Mark II with a very resolving and mostly analytical amplification, which is Kinky Studio. So no, I don't use a super tweeter. Middle Earth says the shit marketing budget is zero. I don't know about that. I mean, they got some dollars into their website. That's for damn sure. you know? Oh, their direct marketing budget. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it is. You never know. Um, Middle Earth says review samples aren't free. Oh no, Ben Gleason is saying that. I mean, yeah, that's true. Review samples at minimum cost shipping, and that's if the reviewer doesn't charge a fee. Ed back, holy moly, Nemo live stream. How's it going? What's up, brother? I'm doing well, Ed. I'll cover this again because some people might not know. Had surgery like 8 or 9 days ago. Lower abdominal hernia, basically large intestine. Recovering well, getting in and out of a chair is still, got to be mindful of how I'm moving. I don't want to engage my core too much, but pain is super low. I'm past the bulk of the rough part. I'm in good spirits. It's healing well. Bruising is at a minimum. Swelling has tremendously been reduced. I got to follow up on Tuesday to just check in with the surgeon, but I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good, and I'm happy I got the hernia fixed, man. That thing was annoying the hell out of me. Sergey Gonchar, thanks very much. Appreciate it. I asked because I tried to buy Purify drivers. They're like 400 each. Yeah, bro, like, bro, Sergey, look, DIY could be twice the price as a finished product if you're buying very high-end components. Yes, those Purify drivers are some of the most expensive drivers that are currently on the market. So yeah, it depends how you do the DIY. The parts choice is going to matter. So sorry, let me read the rest of your comment. So you tried to buy the Purifies plus tweeters, crossover and box, etc. I get the point about customization though. Yeah, bro, you're picking really expensive components. DIY could be really expensive depending. I've seen DIY builds that cost $5,000 or more. You know what I mean? I don't know what they sounded like, but it can be very expensive depending on what you're doing. If you're buying an exotic driver or an exotic, like some exotic tweeters are like $300-$400, But if you're buying normal stuff, you can get pretty good sound and save some money with CSS, man. CSS makes killer stuff. As long as you got the power to drive them, like even something like a Emotiva TA1 with a set of CSS Crichton 1 TDs, fantastic. That's a fantastic system, man. That's a really good system. Criminally Insane says, Nemo, what route would you go for a 250 square foot room subwoofer? I have JL Audio D110 for 500. That's a good price, bro. This must be the used market, or E110 for 1200. These are both secondhand. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. My thought is the D110 would be sufficient. Let me do some quick math. Those are both really good subs. They sound fairly similar. The E110 is gonna hold its composure at the extremes of output and extension. The E110 is slightly larger overall. Like even the driver, they don't use the same driver. The driver on the E110, I know they're both 10-inch subs, but the D110 is closer to like a 9-inch, whereas the E110 is closer to being a true 10-inch. And that makes the D110 all the more impressive because the D110 bangs. It's a monster of a subwoofer, and it's really small. I still regret selling mine, but I sold it to a buddy, and he loves the hell out of it. But so 250 square feet. So, it's kind of a bigger room. You're probably like 14 by 17 feet or something like that. Maybe 14 by 18 feet. Yeah, about 14 by 18 feet. That's 252 square feet. Give me a second. It depends what your taste for bass is. I would say a single D110 in a 250 square foot room could be enough for some people, but then there's other people that would say it's not enough. It's just like if we went out and we got pho together, how much chili oil you put in your bowl of pho might not be the same as how much I want. So if you know your taste for bass is on the high side, I think you're going to want a pair of D110s in that room. But if you're more like, hey, I understand this is a very small subwoofer. I know JL Audio gives killer output for the money, but again, I understand the subwoofer's not massive. And I'm not looking for, reference theater bass. I'm just looking to get some better bass, some stronger bass, some more extension. Then yeah, the D110 is fine. If you can get a pair at that price, I would definitely do it. But even a single one, like it, I don't know if it'll satisfy you in that room, but I know it'll surprise the hell out of you with what it can do for how small it is. Criminally Insane is saying it's 2-channel music and movies. I mean, 500 and 1200 is a big price difference, bro. So I get why you want to do the D110. I mean, the E110 is like, it's slightly bigger overall. It has more power. For movies, the E110 is going to have a bigger sense of scale. It's going to be more effortless. If money's no object, get the E110, 100%. But if you're like, yo, holidays are coming up, money's a little tight, the D110 is still really good. Ed Beck's asking if I'm going to get the E50. Yeah, of course I'm going to get the Bucard E50. Absolutely. Probably around January, February. Yama says, I ordered the keyboard already. I'll replace the battery too. Thanks for the reminder. Yes, sir. See, I knew you were a handy guy. I know. Guys, Yama Fanboy is one of my most like old school subscribers. We've talked like hundreds of times. I know this man. He's very handy. There's one thing I remember about you, bro. I'm willing to bet when it comes to cars, you're very handy also. Ed says, good to know, man. Wish you the best. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. Audio Life says, I will tell you a secret. I just bought a Chi-Fi clone amp for an ultra high-end brand where the circuit patents have run out. The thing is better than my PS Audio BHK 250. Crazy for $800. Yeah, I mean, if it's using the same parts and the same circuit, like it should be good. I think the only downside of like some Chi-Fi or really inexpensive stuff is if they're using the same circuit design but with like much cheaper parts. One thing you guys got to remember about cheaper parts, they have a lot of variance. What that means is, let's say Audio Life, the one you got, it's the same circuit design, but they've substituted cheaper parts in. It means yours might be great, but I might buy one and mine might be just good. And then someone else might buy one and it might like kind of suck or have some noise, because really inexpensive parts don't have the same tolerances. They're not matched as much to their spec. They have a wider range of like error that they're allowed to have. Like if it's let's say like a very high end part must be like within plus or minus 1% threshold of its rating. A very inexpensive part might be like, hey, within 15% is okay. These things are cheap. We don't care, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And that's why if you pay attention, you'll see in the really inexpensive price category, you'll find these people that are having really different experiences. The Sony SSCS5 is a great example. It's reached the point where people think there's different factories making them. Because some people are like, what do you mean? Mine is just really bright, shrill, and has no bass. And then you get other guys that are like, what do you mean? Mine is like very tonally balanced with really good, strong, powerful bass. You get people that say they're Sony SSCS, you know which ones I'm fucking talking about. They can play very loud. Then you get people that are saying like, dude, these things can't take more than like 25 watts. They fall apart at 80 dB. What's going on? Is because the Sony SSCS5 is so inexpensive. The parts inside are so cheap that there's a wide variance in the quality. So some people get a really good Sony SSCS5, some people might get a bad one. Whereas when you buy more expensive gear, you're gonna have more consistency from unit to unit and hopefully less failures. BS513 is saying, anyway, Parasound would send you some integrated amps, new classic line. Oh no, I never really reached out to them. We just don't know each other. Um, yeah, that's just a brand I've never. Honestly, I haven't even been on their website in a long time. Let's see if they have anything I'd be interested in. What the hell is this? I don't think. Oh, they changed their whole website since the last time I was on here. Damn. Products, integrated amplifiers, click. So they have the NC200 integrated and the Halo Hint 6. Halo Hint 6 has been on the market for a long time. I know it's good. I know Parasound makes products that generally have good high quality output and power. I think at this price and for how long it's been in the market, I think it's a little too old for me to review it because I think most people will avoid it at this point thinking that a new one is coming soon. And I don't know if that's the case or not. The NC200 integrated from their new classic line, I mean, it's $1,000, 110 watts at 8 ohms or 4 ohms. That's a weird. It's Class D. I'm not into it. Yeah, I'm a Class D hater. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't care for Class D amps usually. The Billy is an exception I made because it's tube hybrid Class D, but like straight up Class D. Even though Pascal designed this, it looks like it's not my thing. It's not my sound. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. Also, it's weird that they say it does 110 watts at 8 ohms and at 4 ohms. Let's see what else they have for information. Both channels driven 1% THD, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Respect. They're giving us wideband measurements and referencing distortion. 125 watts times 2. But they say, again, at 4 ohms or 8 ohms. That's very bizarre. I'd love to know why they chose to do that. Maybe they don't want to play the game. They don't want to mislead the consumer about the 4 ohm spec. So instead of being misleading about the 4 ohm spec, they're just saying, hey, it's at least the same as the 8 ohm spec, which I mean, like it should be, I'll be curious to see if the Hint 6 is measured similarly. No. The Hint 6, I respect this. This is what I'm talking about. Parasound gives us the wattage for the Hint 6, 160 watts times 2 at 8 ohms, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz, 0.05% THD. So they're giving us wideband and referencing THD. And the 4 ohm spec is using the exact same measurements. That's what I'm talking about. 240 watts times 2 at 4 ohms, again, at 0.05% THD. And again, 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Big respect to Parasound. I respect this brand a lot for that. Good job, Parasound. I never heard your products, but I've heard them in a theater setting, but good job, Parasound. Andy Heckle, what vintage speakers, if any, do you use as a reference? None. I'm not into vintage at all. I don't like the way vintage amps look. I don't like the way vintage speakers look. I don't like the way most vintage gear sounds. It's not my thing at all. Sergey says, I feel like I'm too far down DIY YouTube. I now get recommendations on how to DIY amps. So tempted, but just to try for fun, to keep my hands busy. But choice paralysis is real. Yeah, bro, look, so what I've noticed is choice paralysis gets real when the budget goes beyond what you originally had in mind. Bring your budget back down and it will start to be very easy to make a choice. Because when the price becomes too high, more than you had in mind, you take the fun out of the process. Now you're scared to make a mistake. You got financial investment. You have more on the line. You have more to lose if it doesn't work out well. Bring the budget down. And you might not even have a budget. That's another problem a lot of people make. Set a budget. If you want to build a speaker, maybe tell yourself, hey, I'm going to build a speaker. $1,000 or less total budget, including finishing material, glue, wood clamps, everything. $1,000 or less, that's my budget. And then you can have fun. Ooh, how can I make this work? Oh, I want this. Oh no, this driver is, man, it's too expensive. I can't use it. Okay, what can I find that's close? Now it's fun again. But if you let your budget get too high, now you're scared to make a mistake. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps, bro. Ed Beck, did you finish Metaphor? No, I've been home for about 8, 9 days, and you would think I've been home playing video games. I can't get into a video game to save my life. I think I'm experiencing video game burnout. It's been about 4 months I've been like this. Any game I pick up, whether it's games I love, like Mass Effect 3, just classics I've always been able to play for hours and hours. I cannot play a video game for more than 45 minutes before I put the controller down, pick up my phone, and decide I don't want to play video games anymore. I think I need to stay away from video games for another maybe 3 or 4 months, and then maybe I'll be back into it. Metaphor was a cool game. I liked it. I want to be into it, but I just, it's not there, bro. It's not there. I pick up that controller and I just feel like I'm wasting my life away, which is weird because I don't feel that way when I like relax and watch anime. That's what I've been doing. I caught up on Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War since I was home from the surgery. I think one new episode just came out. I'm going to watch that after this stream, but that's mostly what I did. So, and I found some new animes too. There's a new one called Mecha Yude on Crunchyroll. That is, if anyone likes Gurren Lagann, check out Mecha Ude. It's really similar. Middle Earth says the build quality of the clone is impressive. Yeah, bro, I'm sure it is, man. Like not all like stuff coming out of China is junk. Like my Kinky Studio amps I use are from China. I love them. My iPhone I use is made in China. I love it. My LG OLED TV in the background is made in China. I love it. China can make very good stuff, you know, but they can also make very inexpensive stuff that is not very high quality as well. This is the nature of manufacturing. I'm not like a made in China hater by any means, guys. By any means. The bulk of my system, I think almost all of it is made in China. The Bucart S400 Mark II is made in China. The Kinky Studio is not only made in China, it's a Chinese company. Live is not a Chinese brand per se, but I'm not sure if it's made in China or Singapore. I'm not sure. A lot of stuff's made in China, guys. I'm okay with that. Like I told you guys earlier, I'm not super political. Worldly affairs I'm not interested in that, man. I'm just not. Like, I believe a man's duty is to have his own house in order. And that's what I choose to focus on, is to have my own house in order, my own health, my own relationships with my fellows, my own spiritual relationship, my finances, all those things is what I should focus on. That's my duty, not to solve the world's problems and things like that. Yama says, yes, when it comes to cars, anything short of engine rebuilds, I do myself. Boom, see? I knew, bro. I knew. I can tell, man. That was dope. I love to hear that. Always Pushing says, feel old today. Happy 43rd anniversary. Too Fast for Love. Debut album released 10th of November, 1981. Motley Crue, Live Wire. Who Cares says, Orchard Audio makes amazing GaN-Fit Class D monoblock stereo amps that are amazing. I'm sure the owner would be more than happy to send you a set. He's really approachable. I've actually met him at Expono. We've talked. We even talked through email a couple times. You're right. He's super cool. He's very nice. He's more than willing to send me a review sample. I'm just not into it. I know I'm not into Class D. I've tried. I don't enjoy it. Like, it's just not my thing, you know? And you guys got to remember, my channel is for free and for fun. This channel is not really monetized beyond like AdSense revenue, which is like $20 or $30 per review. Like, that's not that much, guys. So like, I got to do the things that I'm interested in. I got to do the things that I'm personally curious about. And everyone I know who's heard Orchard has really enjoyed it. But it doesn't get me going. You know what I mean? And I like to review products that get me going, that either I'm excited about, or if there's a tremendous amount of audience excitement about it, like the Arendelle 1528. Personally, I wasn't that excited about it because it was so big and so heavy. And to me, it's just a pain in the butt, right? But the audience had so much excitement. I was like, shit, you know what? I'll take one for the team. I'll get this review done. I know the people really want to see this. And so I did that. But that's pretty rare. Usually if a product doesn't get me excited, I don't want to review it, you know? And again, that's no knock against Orchard Audio. It's not. I generally don't generally don't enjoy reviewing Class D products. There's many Class D products I accept a review sample and I send it back, you know, even without a review. Hey, we got Andrew Robinson in here. What's good, man? What's good? We used you I used your page as an example early on in the stream to show people how to go to like a YouTuber's profile, see their past live streams and videos and community section. Good to see you in the chat, man. Where did I leave off? And by the way, always pushing. Don't feel old. I don't know how old you are, but don't feel old. You know, in my experience, I'm 41. I think you're older than me based on what you referenced, but I feel the same. The only time I feel old is like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, dude, why does my neck hurt? I just like, for no reason, like that stuff can make me feel old, but you're good, man. I'd say keep it pushing. Kristen Ray, my T9X should be in when I get home from work. That's a good day. That getting hi-fi mail after work is always a good day. I'll let you know my thoughts once it's broken in and tested. Thanks for all your input. Yeah, for sure. And just a heads up, the T9X doesn't need a lot of break-in. Just 3, 4, maybe 5 hours of good use. Leave it plugged in, leave it on. When you come back the next day, if you put 4 or 5 hours on it, you should be able to start getting it dialed in and integrated fairly well. That's not too stiff of a design. And congratulations on the purchase. Great choice. I really like that subwoofer a lot. Audio Life, have you heard about the British brand Kudos? No. Amazing speakers. They can be crossed over both actively or passively. More manufacturers should provide. What? That's so. If you're saying this is an active speaker that can be run passive, and you want to see more manufacturers do this, I actually disagree. And here's why. It will hurt sales because many potential buyers will feel, I don't want to pay for this extra thing I'm never going to use. That was a big problem with 3D TVs back in the day. Anyone who worked in retail knew. Once the 3D craze was over, people would not buy TVs that said 3D on them. Even if they were on sale, even if they were cheaper. Like even if they were really good high quality 4K TVs and the 3D was just a feature. Because they're like, no, I'm not going to use it. Why would I pay extra for that? It's like you're not paying extra, but it's what people think, right? But let me look this up. I am curious. So British Kudos. So let's search Kudos Audio. See what comes up. Yeah, Kudos Audio. High-end home loudspeakers. All right, products. I hate this. I hate when you click those like that cheeseburger thing to get the drop down and under products, it tells you their series. I don't care about your series. How many? They have Titan series, Cardia series, Segal, KS1. What? Like just tell me the product type. Tell me, I want to see the product type, not your series. It's like so confusing for a newcomer to the brand. Let's click on Titan. Looks nice, Titan 505. It looks nice. Not a lot of like text on the page as far as like what, maybe it's Cardia that's both powered and not powered. But then you go to Cardia series and this, okay, this is weird. The naming of products sometimes is, oh, I can click bookshelf and view range, see other ranges. Okay, so there is a part of their website where I can click on a type of product. I appreciate that. Okay, yeah, wow, looks like it's, I don't understand. Sorry, bro, I'm over this. This just doesn't have my attention. I'm not feeling it for one reason or another. Let me get back to these comments. I spent too much time on that. Andy Heckle, I miss it if you reviewed. What's your take on MoFi point source? Haven't reviewed it, bro. Haven't reviewed it, and it's just one reason. There's one reason only. They're ugly as hell. I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect to Andrew Jones or MoFi or anyone who likes that speaker. Remember, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if you love it, I'm happy for you. I'm so happy for you. But it's big, it's ugly, it's heavy. It doesn't have my interest. I'm not into it. Even if they called me and they're like, hey, we'll send you a review sample, you can keep them afterwards. I will still say no. I don't want to review that product at all. Sorry, I don't mean to hate on them, but again, as I mentioned earlier, I have got to be somewhat excited about the product. You know what I mean? And that's not to say I'll never review ugly stuff, but dude, that MoFi, man, that's just like, what the hell stands are you going to use for that thing, man? Like, what? I'll rather get a Zoo DWX instead. It's much more beautiful. Speaker is similar in size and such. If you want like a big bookshelf, MoFi stuff just doesn't look right. Always Pushing says, hit that thumbs up for one of the best reviewers we have, period. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I like that you picked your skin tone for the thumbs up. I love that, bro. I just use the generic one, but I love it when people pick the skin tone as a slightly different shade. That's funny to me. Yama Fanboy says, I say that because great sound rarely requires upgrading. You will experience decades of joy from your ideal system. Yeah, bro. I mean, look, preference is probably the most important part of this hobby, man. Like, if you like tonally rich and warm sound, and I give you a pair of like Focal Sopras that are like, I think they're 16,000 for the pair now for the number ones, you're not going to be happy. But I can give you like a $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, speaker like the Spendor Classic 3.1. And if you like warm and tonally rich, you will think it's better than the $16,000 Sopra number one. Is it better? To you it is, and that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, man. And I want to see more people get with that. I see a lot of people always ask, is this better or that better? And it's like, how much cheese do you like on your cheeseburger, man? Like, there's not necessarily always a better. Sometimes there is. Sometimes there is. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes there's not, Sean B says Class D sucks unless paired with tubes. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I'm sure there's some good ones out there, or there's people that just like the sound. You know what I mean? I have friends that own Class D gear and they absolutely love it. So again, that just might be that preference I was talking about, Ed Beck, have you been interested in PC hardware? AMD is crushing Intel in most games while being 2 to 3 times more efficient. And if it's true, the US government thinks about selling Intel CPU division to AMD. So my PC's been built for like a while, and I mostly play old JRPG games. So like I run a 3060 Ti and an i7 13600K, which is, I'll probably get another 5 years out of that. You know what I mean? Because I'm playing mostly niche JRPG games. They don't need a lot of processing power. I'm usually able to get 1440 and 120 hertz without any issues. But I have seen that. I have seen what's going on with AMD and Intel. And I saw how cooked Intel was, where the CEO was praying on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. He was losing his mind. Their stock is down. I think it was averaging like $34. Intel stock has hovered $30, $34 for a decade. It hasn't gone up. It hasn't gone down. If you bought like $1 million of Intel stock a decade ago, you would have zero gain now. It's a very strange company in terms of profit. But right now, the Intel stock last I checked was like $19. That is a massive drop. And to see the CEO, look it up, guys, if you don't believe me. Look up Intel CEO praying on Twitter. I don't usually feel bad for like billionaires and millionaires, but like you could tell the dude was losing his mind. Like I don't know what that means for them, but it's very obvious they're in bad shape. Audio Life says it is a passive speaker that has jumpers on the back that can be removed. it is a great upgrade, even though the passive crossover is very good as well. It is expensive though with the active crossover. Yeah, I don't understand this product, bro. I'm sorry. I don't understand it. I mean, there's other speakers that have jumpers on the back where you can kind of tune the sound, but it almost sounds like you're saying you can bypass the crossover entirely. And I guess maybe use something like a mini DSP to control that. I'm not into that. That's too much tinkering for me personally. Andrew Robinson says, what speaker is beautiful to you? The Triangle Comet 40th anniversary in that golden oak. Oh man, that's a beautiful finish. The Dyne Audio Special 40 in that gray color, that is absolutely beautiful. The Zoo DWX review sample I reviewed, and I don't know what the name of the finish is, but it's like a blonde wood. Absolutely beautiful. Bucard S400 Mark II, I think, is beautiful. Platamon, I think, is beautiful, mostly because like the billet aluminum enclosure. What else? The Hecko Salon Revolution 3, rest in peace, discontinued like literally within a couple of months of my review. Very, very beautiful speaker. And again, anyone who bought that speaker after my review and still owns it, you got lucky. That is still such a performer. And it was such a loss that it got discontinued so quickly. But the Hecko Salon Revolution 3, stunning. The Aurora 300, which I think is also discontinued now, was another beautiful one. Let's see if there's some inexpensive stuff that's also very good looking. Ooh, SVS, either the full-size bookshelf or the Nano of the new Ultra Evolution, very good looking. There's a lot of stuff that's good looking, I'd say. Dyne Audio Evoke. Kef R3 Meta, good looking in pictures, not in person. In person, I found the Kef R3 Meta to be very just monolithic looking. It's very monochromatic, especially the white one. And it's quite large. But if you've got a bigger room, it could probably look very beautiful, I'd say. Yeah. Always Pushing is laughing because I called the MoFi ugly. Yama says, Andrew Robinson, I think this new projector, Valerion Vision Master Pro 2, would be a great product. Okay, he's recommending a product for Andrew. SC to God says, do you think you'll review more Klipsch products? Personally, I don't like them for 2-channel stereo, but I love them for home theater and low-level listening. I've only ever reviewed the Klipsch R50M. I made a pretty good relationship with the rep over there, and then she left within a couple of months of me getting to know her. So I no longer have a relationship with Klipsch. I could easily reestablish it with someone else, but I know they make great stuff. They have a very diverse portfolio. It seems like they've got something for a lot of people. And you're not wrong. Even the R50Ms I reviewed, great low-level listening, and I did feature them in my best of for low volume champions. I did a whole video for that. But Klipsch doesn't like really have anything that I'm like, ooh, like I'm curious about that. I want to know about that. I want to review that. So I've been a little lazy in rebuilding that relationship. Maybe I will in the future, but no plans for now. Andrew saying the Nano is a sleeper. Yeah, dude, guys, the SBS Ultra Evolution speakers, fantastic. Fantastic. The only reason I haven't reviewed the new bookshelf, I have it in for review. My surgery caused the delay for that. But such a performer, such a performer. The Nano is like rowdy with its bass. It's like a little speaker that's got something to prove, and it proves it well. The bass is so good. The mids are good. The highs are clean and clear, more refined than the outgoing Ultraline. Oops. Really, really good sound for the money, guys. And Andrew, I know you're very much enjoying those Titans. I wish I could accommodate a tower like that. They look great in your space. They really do. Audio Life says that is correct. You bypass it and it gives you cleaner sound without the passive crossover parts in the path. I had the Fink Team Kim before, kudos. That is also a crazy good speaker. Yeah, look, so that's a pretty niche design. I mean, it's super cool if you're into that. I'm a pretty big anti-DSP guy. And that's not to say that I think DSP is wrong or bad. It's just not the path I've chosen for my journey. I've been able to solve most of my room issues and setup woes with just a little bit of placement, a little bit of room treatment. And my room is mostly, believe it or not, my room measures to my aesthetic taste. I don't love a lot of mid-bass presence. I've got a little bit of a 60 hertz dip. I do like some nice low bass presence. I have a little bit of a 40 hertz rise. So my room's natural tuning is very in line with my personal taste. But if my room was like had some major issues, I'd probably be more into DSP. I've been in a lot of rooms that were absolute horrendous nightmares, like at a friend's house, and then they get into DSP, they start solving those problems, and oh my goodness, the difference is such a vast improvement. So DSP without a doubt has its place, just not for me, for where I'm at in my journey. What do we have for time? Damn, 155 minutes. This is one of my longest streams. No wonder my voice is getting kind of dry. I think we're at the tail end for real this time, guys. I think we're at the tail end for real because the questions are really slowing down. Yeah, that's it. There's no new questions since I answered that one. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's a stream. If anyone's got a burning desire of a question, ask it. You guys know I leave my streams up so you can go back and look at it. I showed you guys how to do that in the beginning of the review. Hop in the free Discord if you want to chat more. Link is in the description for all my videos, guys. If you're in the free Discord, please be courteous. I do ask, just treat everyone, just like you would an old friend you hadn't seen in a while. If someone posts a picture of their room, you don't need to be telling them that they need a rug or their shit's set up wrong. Like, no one cares. Like, it's okay. We all have our imperfect rooms and our imperfect systems, and if we like them, that is the most important thing. So, with that said, y'all, I'm gonna sign out. Oh, yep. Nope, that's not a question. Just people saying thank you. There is one. How can I be as chill as you? That was a burning desire of a question. I can answer that actually, and it just comes down to, bro, accept your truth and be honest with yourself, for real. And know that it's not your job to fix assholes. It's not your job to fix the world. It's not your job to change anyone. And accept the fact that as a human being, as an individual, the amount of power you carry is very low. It's very low. We are very powerless creatures. The only power you truly have is over yourself. So work on mastering yourself. Try to be a little bit stoic where possible, and that doesn't mean emotionless. Certainly going to cry at a funeral, but I don't need to throw a hissy fit because something doesn't go my way and things like that, right? So know yourself, be brutally honest with yourself, be brutally honest and tactful with your loved ones. But most importantly, not trying to fix or change people, just accepting everyone as they are and as they're not, and just trying to see the other side as everyone. That's how I got chill. I wasn't always chill. It was a long path. Audio Life, do you like Treated Room, Perfect Placement, and the DSP from Lingdorf? I never heard it, bro. I never heard it. All right, guys, I appreciate everyone saying they appreciated the stream. Thank you for tuning in. We'll probably do another one in a few weeks as I'm approaching like 30K subscribers. I'll do like a 30K stream, but I think that'll be in January because I still have to do my Products of the Year videos, all that good stuff. Anyways, enjoy your Sunday. If you got tomorrow off, have a good day. Until next time, guys, take care.